them as well. What a move from the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Well, as we hit the halfway point in the season, it is certainly hotting up in the championships. And after a chaotic couple of races last week at Snetterton, we move to Oulton Park for round 4 of the British F4 Esports Championship. And of course, supported by the UK F4 1600s that will begin the opening races of this evening with as well. It is a very tricky track here at Oulton Park today. And as ever, the drivers are going to have 2 races to try and get as many points on offer. For the Formula Fords tonight, of course, we have the drop rounds, and there'll be some drivers who will be using them tonight, I am sure, around this tight and twisty park circuit. It's been a lot of fun as we've been going through the season so far. As I say, we're here at round number 4 already. The season is going by very, very quickly indeed. It's myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me this week. And Ewan, of course, it was your first venture into this championship last week. Just how did you find it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it, even at a circuit, as I say, Snetterton, that I don't enjoy driving myself. It was great fun to watch. I think this circuit particularly is going to suit us quite well, actually, at Oulton Park, because normally it's really difficult to overtake, but so far this season, especially in the Formula Ford 1600s, it's been very, very easy to overtake. In fact, it's at certain points. I hope that balance is going to be just about right now, and it's going to be, still hardish to overtake here as it always is, but not impossible, which it can be in some of the faster and bigger machines.
Yeah, absolutely. The last couple of rounds have been to Thruxton, we've been to Snetterton, a couple of tracks where there's a lot of slipstream, a lot of long straights. I guess we have some sort of similar parts of this track today as we go to Oulton Park International, so we do have the full length of the circuit and a couple of chicanes at Britons and Hislops as well, and the back straight. But here's where we've been. We started at Donington Park GP, we've been to Thruxton, Snetterton, Oulton Park, where we are now. Before we go to Silverstone next week, we have a week's break, and then we have 3 races back-to-back: Knockhill, Zandvoort, Brands Hatch to finish the season. They are going to be 3 tricky races as well. And as we get towards this halfway point, the drivers will be focusing on these things that they can win. So the top 2 drivers of this championship will be getting a fully funded entry into the British Formula 4 Esports Championship next season. So they'll be moving up from the Formula Fords into the big boy category. And for today, the winner will receive the Hoisingveld Ultimate and a black 3-pedal set. Second place will get a Hoisingveld Sprint 3-pedal set, and the third place will get a Hoisingveld Sprint 2-pedal set. But the important one, Ewan, is that they do get a named trophy as well, which, even though sim racing is in the virtual world, we do have a physical trophy that will be delivered to them, which is always a really great one to add to any karting or similar trophies that a lot of these drivers will have. It's been a very interesting and tight season, but things have changed around quite a lot. Jaden Sherwood was leading the championship coming into last round, but he's now down into P6 after getting involved in a collision in that first race back at Snetterton. So we now have Hayden Bramley. He's leading the way by a good little chunk there from Matt Kendall, who's been very consistent. Sam Sanders, our only double victor so far this season, and Crofton Woodhatch fast as ever, but unfortunately almost 40 points off the lead with Charlie Summers in behind him. We have Miller Kangas, one of the most aggressive drivers of this championship, down there in P7, and McClements, your winner of the previous race, the reverse grid at Snetterton, and Loudon and Decker rounding out your top 10 in the drivers. But things will change as ever because we do have those drop rounds. So when we get towards the final couple of rounds, you'll start to see some things sort of shifting around. But let's get on to the action and see what the drivers are going to do. They've got a couple of seconds left in this practice session, and Ewan, it's going to be a tight one, I think, around here, because there's quite a lot of sort of flat out sections, and as we're already seeing in the practice session, I mean, half a second basically is covering the top 13 drivers.
It's no surprise really in these cars. We see it time and again in this series that qualifying is exceptionally close, and expecting that that's going to be the case again here in a moment. But the degree to which the slipstream and the teamwork might be going on here is going to be a factor, is maybe going to surprise a few people. I mean, I wasn't expecting too much in the way of drafting help, to be honest, at a circuit like this, but we may well see quite a bit of it because of the slow speed nature of these Formula Ford 1600s that make even a circuit like this feel like a bit of a drafting circuit. As I say, I hope that this circuit sort of brings the balance between being able to pass and being able to defend a little bit closer, because some of the circuits we've had so far, it has been very, very easy.
So here's what we've got for tonight. The practice session, they are just finishing now. Then we go into a lone qualifying session, so they'll be on the track themselves. No distractions, but they only have 10 minutes to set their lap times before we get to the starting grid, and a 15-minute race. At the end of that, we will reverse the top 5 to 10. We'll get the spinny wheel out to know the random number for that. We'll reverse those positions, and that'll be race 2. So if you're outside the top 10, then you don't have any chance, and you'll be starting race 2 wherever you finished in race 1 for another 15 minutes, so 30 minutes of racing. And when we have the sort of lower number, which we sort of had in the previous race at Snetterton, is about 7 or 8, you sort of get the same drivers going up there at the front again, and they are able to continue on with their battle. But we hit the qualifying session, Ewan, and this is going to be a fun one. It's a really twisty, tight circuit around here, very narrow compared to the likes of Zandvoort or Silverstone that we've got coming up.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's going to make it so interesting here, the fact that it is so narrow, as you say. We'll see in the race how that affects things, but in qualifying, just making their way round at the moment into this first chicane. Sometimes we remove either one or both of these to promote a bit of racing, but both being kept in here. That's the Britain chicane through 7, 8 and 9, and now into the Hislop chicane, which is the end of this little bit of a straight, and then towards the second chicane as well. Can't quite decide which would be better for racing, actually. I think it's fine to keep the chicanes in. Just remains to be seen how much side-by-side we see that through there, and indeed on the way out of there. As I mentioned in practice, a lot of drafting going on, so it does seem it is still possible. And again, we'll see what an effect that has on the race coming up, because as you say, if we have a low number of reverse grid drivers, it is generally the same who battle for the front, because there is generally a small group who break away from the rest of the field to fight over the race win, as we saw at Snetterton. And on the one hand, it's a good thing to have a small reverse grid, because you get to do it all over again in race 2.
And let's jump on board with Wan Chi Lin here in the number 30 machine as he works his way through this qualifying lap. Let's take a look around. We go through Old Hall Corner, which of course is so fast, even in these cars without any downforce or wings on them, and down through Dentons in towards Cascades. This is a big corner for getting an off track on the exit here. Got to be very careful with that chicane. It's probably one of the most strict cut tracks that there are on the whole iRacing service, and up towards the Island Bend, where you have to go through this such a fast corner, and overtaking here is going to be very tricky, because you work your way through to Shell Oils, and it's a very banked sequence, but very one line indeed. And this is where we get towards the chicanes, flat out on the exit and up towards Britain's. It's a very tricky chicane. We've got the tyre stacks as well. Don't want to be hitting them. Straight line the first part, get it turned in, get on the power, but that is a big slide on the exit for Lin, and up and over the hill. And this is where you can get a lot of slipstream down in towards Hislops. It's a tight enough chicane where you can brake hard and don't dive down the inside of someone, but once again, you've got the tyre stacks, you've got to be careful. Keep it flat if you can through Knickerbrook as you work our way up the hill, just the tiniest lift possible, because this is actually quite a long straight. It's flat out up through these kinks as we work our way up Clay Hill, past the water tower, and in towards one of the funnest corners in British motorsport, to be honest, Druids Corner. Sort of double apex right-handed corner, but almost flat out on the exit, right up to the curb and down towards what is effectively the final corner at Lodge. Loads of undulations working in towards the braking zone, and again, just another final overtaking opportunity if you dare before we work our way through Dearly. And let's see what his lap time is going to be. I don't think with that big slide it's going to be challenging up towards the front for now, but let's see as Matt Kendall goes to the front. Woodhatch takes him out, and Ling, I should say, goes into 8th place.
Had a good setup there, I've got to say, from him. So we just saw his setup there. He's jammed himself into the corners, give himself a bit of a cockpit feel. He's got the shifter on the right-hand side as well. I quite like that. Yeah, at the moment, 8th place in the session. Woodhatch has got the best lap time, as you say. He's certainly got the speed, but has he had the consistent race result? Well, the answer of the last couple of weeks is no, but can he have the consistent results required a little bit later on in the season? Quite possibly, you would say. He's only 38 points 38 points off of Hayden Bramley at the moment, who leads by 17. As we saw in the championship standings, it is but far from over, and Woodhatch is going to be one of those drivers who can challenge, I am sure. Just needs to stay out of trouble a little bit more than certainly he was able to do last week.
Absolutely. And here's Matt Kendall, who is one of the most consistent drivers of this championship. That's why he's up into 2nd place, but he's yet to get a victory. He's got 3 podiums to his name, but yet to get a victory, and that would obviously help his championship quite a bit if he was able to get those points. Currently sitting in 2nd place once again, just 100th of a second ahead of McClements, but crucially almost a 1/4 of a second behind Woodhatch. Woodhatch is really a qualifying king, to be honest, in this championship. Definitely one of the fastest drivers on raw pace, but gets caught up sometimes in the race with some racecraft. What is Kendall going to do? Up towards the line, through Dearly, and across the line. It's quite a long run actually to the line here, and actually McClements goes up to 2nd place, but it's turned around as Kendall takes that back, and Loudon as well. 4 drivers within a 10th of the top.
And Branley is going to interrupt that by going to the top himself. Still 4 within a 10th, and now 5 as Timo Milikangis moves up to 5th position, but it's Hayden Bramley who takes the pole position. I don't know if Woodhatch is not yet set his next time on this next time by, or whether he didn't improve, but he certainly hasn't improved for the moment. 24 thousandths away from pole, and again we're seeing the same names up towards the top. 9 drivers go up by about 2/10 of a second. You can imagine it will be a break in the group around that sort of margin, around that sort of a position, because that's what we saw last week and have seen in recent weeks. We're starting to see a certain front drivers emerge from this championship, and they are all exceptionally close around this circuit, which is not the shortest in the world. Very impressive that everybody is able to stay this close.
Yeah, that is incredible. 8 drivers, just over a 1/10 of a second separate everyone between Bramley and Summers, and even Sanders and Hopper are only just behind that. This is incredibly close. Just one little slide like we saw from Lynn, and you unfortunately will not be even in the top 5. That is absolutely incredible. Here's Loudon as we work away up towards stewards once again. He's got the VR headset. We should be able to spot out his apex through this double sequence of corners. Just keep that momentum going. Very momentum-based car. Goes slightly onto the grass there, but should be okay as come down towards the final corner, and 3 minutes remaining in the session, so enough time to get another lap in if you haven't run out of your 4 laps already. Up towards the hill, we go for Loudon across the line. It is going to be, can he challenge? Up towards the front, McClements goes to 4th. Loudon is going to stay in 5th place as Kendall takes the pole by 2/10 of a second. That's much better from the 67.
Yeah, only briefly. Bramley gets it back to 1/10, and Woodhatch goes faster. So indeed, he didn't get a lap in that most recent time round, but he has this time, as you say, and he's the first driver into the 42s, although only just in the .999. But he's got 2.5 minutes left, as have all of these guys. So unlike last week at Snetterton, where nobody could get all 4 of their allotted laps in, they wouldn't have been able to get 5 in, but at least they have managed to get all of their amount of laps in. This is last chance now, and for anybody to beat Woodhatch, it's going to be a very, very difficult job indeed.
Hopper jumps up to 6th, and we saw Loudon there. At one point, he was about half a 10th off the pole, and now he's half a second. That is incredible as the laps get faster and faster here. 2 minutes to go in the session. We see Matt Kendall once again coming down the hill towards the Hislop chicane. Can he do anything about that almost 1/4 of a second gap he's going to need to get the pole today? Once again, Woodhatch showing the pace he has in this car. Just needs to get away nicely as well. And also for Milikangis, he's a little bit down in the championship compared to where he would have wanted. He's in 7th place, 50 points behind, a couple of race victories. So he needs to be getting himself on the points ladder once again as Kendall works his way through the final couple of corners. He's looking very, very very calm, to be honest, with his facial expression. Certainly has the confidence in that machine. Has come up towards the final couple of corners. Where are the other drivers on the lap? Yes, most of the drivers coming through final couple of corners, but Kendall is one of the first. Let's see these final lap times coming in. Kendall up towards the line. He needs a quarter of a second to get this pole position. What is he going to be? Oh, he's just going to miss out on that one. Unfortunately, he's going to stay in second place, less than a tenth off. Loudon goes up into third place. Then Bramley comes through as well. He takes third place as Milikangas drops down, and he drops down another one because Sanders gets in for fifth.
That's not a good last lap from Milikangas. Right when it was needed at the end, he drops to sixth, and it could well be worse yet. Jamie Hopper has been the last driver over the line pretty much every time so far. Wonder whether that's going to be the case one more time here as well, as he comes out of the final corner now and up the hill towards the start-finish line again. It is a 43.2. He will jump in front of Milikangas into sixth position, so he fills that gap. But a bad final lap for Milikangas. An expected session though up top, I would imagine. Very, very close as always. This is not where the race will be won at all, I don't think anyway. It's all going to be in the race coming up.
Certainly is, as we get the final couple of seconds for the drivers to obviously get a little bit more practice in, but the laps will not count, and the session will enter Woodhatch taking pole position. He certainly likes it there. He's been there and the first and second meeting of the season, but of course last time had a little bit of a slower one. It was down in fourth, but he goes back to pole position. That is 3 out of 4 that he's got so far this season, and certainly looking very fast indeed. Let's run you through the full grid. So Woodhatch got the pole position with Kendall on the front row. Bramley and Loudon follow in behind. Sam Sanders, your only double winner so far this season, in fifth, and Jamie Hopper, solid qualifying for 33 there in sixth place on that third row. Milikangas and McClements will be on your fourth row with Sherwood, Summers, and Jeffrey Decker and Wan Chi Lin, who in the end was only down in 12th place. Morel was looking good at one moment, but dropped down to 13th with Dothenbauer. And then we have Winter, Rass, Jordan, and Isaac Gade inside your top 18. And Jonathan Smith, who had an exclusion from qualifying penalty, will be starting from the back row of the grid. And we line up through the kink at Dearly. And to be honest, Ewan, it's hard to judge in this championship battle, but who do you think is going to come out on top?
I'll go for Woodhatch this time round. He's going to look to avenge the previous week's misery on occasion that he's been having, and he really does need to start thinking about gaining some of these points back again. I know that we're only coming up to the halfway mark at the end of tonight, but if you let that gap grow to the leader too far, you won't be able to get it back again. So I'll go for Woodhatch for a not a lights to flag victory, a battle for sure, but in the end I'll go for him.
And often in this series, it depends about the battles in behind. If there's any battles for sort of 4th, 5th place, you can create a gap ahead very, very quickly. And then if you lose the train, it's so difficult to overcome it. So it's all about the racecraft in this series. And as you see, these difficult cars, Formula Ford 1600s, there's no wings there, a lot of wheels sticking out. It's easy to make contact, but you have to use your brain and try and get yourself in the best position possible. There's Sanders as well, looking on in his 34 machine. The lights come on, and round 4 of the British Formula Ford 1600 Cup is going to be getting underway as we have Woodhatch on that front row, gets away very nicely, doesn't even have to come across and cover Matt Kendall, who's solidly in second place at the moment in time, and Bramley as well. We're not even side by side as we work our way into the first corner. That's very nice indeed for all these drivers getting away cleanly. As we work our way through Old Hall, everyone seems to be very nicely down in towards Denton. So this is where some drivers will surely make a bit of a send up the inside, trying to make some moves. It looks like we are a little bit further back as Sherwood gets McClements on the exit.
Yeah, very single file start, and actually the danger at Oulton Park on the beginning of these races is towards Cascades. They're down the hill, so maybe not the worst idea for the field as a whole to get single file like this, but it is side by side further back for 8th. Oh, and McClements looks like he's gone off in that. At least he's dropped a couple of places in that. Jaden Sherwood moves up to 8th position, and there's a small gap there you can see, but nothing too much. McClements certainly has been off. He must have had some sort of trouble anyway, because he is detached at the back now.
Yeah, it was side by side. Sherwood went down the inside of Cascades, all the way down the lakeside straight as well, and in towards Island Bend. He just got pushed out onto the grass and unfortunately lost quite a few places with that one, actually, as he jumped on board with Bramley, currently sitting in that 3rd position, looking very nicely indeed at the back of the car ahead, and of course leading the championship as it stands. We work our way up the hill for the first time of asking, up towards Druids, Can have a little send down the inside if you're feeling brave, but not this time around. And as I said, hopefully the racecraft is something that the drivers think about this time. Just a little bit of a bump on the back of Kendall as well, as Woodhatch has to cover off. There's almost a little bit of a bump draft because Kendall got the push there, but nothing happening down in towards Lodge this time.
Not this time, but if that was the last lap, it wouldn't look like that. If I were to guess. We'll see if Woodhatch is still under so much pressure on the last lap. As Kendall continues to apply that, is the top 5 who are really nose to tail, but it's effectively the whole field who are all in a slipstream train at the moment. And they seem to be biding their time. Bit of patience being shown early, it looks like.
Who would have thought in this championship? But again, it's sometimes the way you have to do it. If you want to be fighting at the end, you don't want to be battling straight away. As actually I say that, Brownlee up the inside of Kendall in towards Island Bend. He's got the inside line, as Kendall's going to have to go all the way around the outside, hold it in towards Shell Oils, who have the inside line, but it is banked. You can go on the outside, but Brownlee backs out of that one wisely, pulls into 3rd place because Loudon is now trying to get the run, trying to get his nose up the inside. Not quite enough this time, but just shows you there is a little bit of impatience in this group, and I basically think there's something going to happen from that.
Yeah, I think, Bromley, they're showing the dangers, I suppose, of being in this group, and Loudon now is doing so as well. When you try and make a move on the driver in front of you, you can be attacked by the one behind, and that's the danger of this real long train we've got going on at the moment. I think that's what Bromley was trying to get away from a little bit by getting second away from Kendall. In the end, discovered the dangers immediately. And Loudon very nearly did the same, as Sanders nearly overtook him, but I think made clear that he wasn't going to actually punish him for that. That might discourage moves for a little while, but there will become a stage in the race, and it's probably going to be quite soon, because it's not a very long race, where these guys realise, well, we're not going to win by staying back here until the very end. We've got to start to move forward. And Sanders has been given a golden opportunity to do that there.
Certainly has, up in towards 4th place, and Sanders is one of those drivers who is aggressive but has the racecraft as well. Loudon's going to come back though as you work away down the front stretch, but look at the gap ahead. This is exactly what I was talking about. Top 3 are getting away. Loudon wants to keep that 4th position though. He gets it back, Sanders into 5th, but look at the 1 second gap up ahead now. That could be the podium gone. You'll never know how this race is going to go, but actually Brownlee is trying to have a fight of his own. He gets down the inside of Kendall, this time earlier on in Cascades. A little bit of contact on the outside. Oh, Kendall goes around. Further contact. He's going to be into the barrier, and that's going to be his race done, basically.
And that's the 2nd place driver in the championship, by the way. It is a big moment. Kendall will drop down the field and will have to pick himself up. I mean, it's a case of, for him now, damage limitation, not only in this one, but the second one. So trying to work out really what happened there, to be honest, in terms of, well, obviously he spun around and went into the wall, and know that, but how did it happen? I mean, out wide there, a little bit of contact as well with Bramley. Here it is again. He just gets shoved a little bit there by Bramley, doesn't he? It's just about giving enough room. And he gets on the outside curve there, spins at the inside wall. That's a tough one to take if you're Kendall, who has dropped to 19th.
Yeah, that was just a little bit awkward. He just got a little bit loose, and then maybe hitting the curb on the outside didn't help, and unfortunately went for a spin. And as I say, 2nd driver in the championship, so that is a big one. It's 1st and 2nd in the championship, both of them fighting for that, and that is why they're fighting so hard. But Brownlee, aggressive move down the inside. We'll have to see, of course, if the stewards decide to do anything with that later on after the race, because we all know drivers love a protest in this championship. The 24 there, Milikangas, once again being aggressive, dives it down the inside of Hopper. He's up into 5th place after starting down in 7th. And to be honest, he's got 3rd place in his sights if he can try and get up to Loudon, and we know the aggressive nature that he has.
Yeah, battle for 3rd is going to be probably the most interesting in the field now, because the top 2 are going to run away, or try to, in the next few moments, to see whether Loudon's going to be pushed by Sanders and Milikangas and Hopper here, and they try and catch the 2 ahead, or whether they're going to fight amongst themselves anyway as they come through Cascades now. Might get a short answer here towards turn 4, which has been a decent chance of overtaking. And so far they don't go side by side. Not sure there's enough time left in the race for them to get back to these 2, to be honest, but they might try, and these 2 will certainly try and get away. Oh, Winter.
Yes, big off there, going through the island bend, and that is dropping him way down. Exactly what happened on the first lap as well to McClements, just showing you how important it is. McClements gone off again down the shallow hills. Definitely not liking that part of the track, is he, today? As this battle continues up, this is Sanders trying to go around the outside as we come down towards his lops. He can do it here, but it's very tight on the outside. Loudon is going to give him the space though, so Sanders round the outside up into third place with 2 seconds off the top two now. So this is the important battle for them. The only driver out of this battle to get on the podium, but he's got about 4 cars behind him.
Look at this run as well he's going to have on the outside line is Loudon to get this position back again from Sanders. As I suspected it would be a fight for third position right round the outside from Sanders, and he's going to take the place again, and Loudon's got to be very careful of this. I know he's on the inside and he's defending well, but he's got to be careful he doesn't get brake tracked. 3 wide, Milikangas on the outside, very brave and daring, and he just about made it work, but he goes wide, and now he might pay the price.
Sanders did the up and under, he's got the momentum coming down towards Old Hall. Now Milikangas is trying to defend in the background from Sherwood. The blue machine there with 2 by 2 in towards Old Hall. Sanders has come out on top with Loudon in behind. Oh, he goes wide though. He's onto the grass. Loudon will have the momentum as we come down in towards Cascades once more. Milikangas will hold it in the background, and Hopper is doing everything to hold on from Sherwood, but Sherwood is coming through nicely as we work our way through Cascades. Gives him room. Hopper decides to use a bit more onto the grass, but can the blue machine of Sherwood, the number 2, hold it down in towards Island Bend? You don't want to go side by side here. We've seen that before, and he cuts in front and manages to take 6th place.
Oh, this is the contact for Winter. Just a small misjudgment through turn 4, and it shows just how bad it can be. Oh, don't tell me Clements has been off through here again. He has. He's just clipped the driver in front and gone into the gravel as well. A pretty bad first race for Dylan McClements, unfortunately, and that is a real shame for the driver. 8th place in the championship, really looking to make a break for the top 5 or so here in the next few weeks, but it's not going to manage it with a race like this one. 7 minutes still to go. This battle for third is getting ever larger in number as we wait for the top 2 to fight. We'll postpone that, I would imagine, for the next 5 minutes or so.
Indeed, we got Decker and Lynn just getting a bit closer, and behind them is a 3-way battle. Morel, Defenbauer, Summers involved. I think even Jonathan Smith just on the back of that one. So we've got a lot of drivers coming through. Oh, that is wide. That's way wide for Sam Sanders. He's going to drop down. Loudon, Milikangas, Sherwood, Hopper as well, all get past him. He might even lose a position to Decker. So this is really not ideal. He's 3rd place in the standings, and along with Kendall, not having a good day, being at the top of the standings and then being out there on the track.
Oh dear, it's a circuit that still punishes, even though it's a circuit where single file is normally the way. So far, not tonight, by the way, but it's still a circuit, as I say, that very much punishes you. Old school racetrack with no tarmac runoff to speak of. You can find the grass, gravel, and even the wall very easily around here. Sam Sanders recovers to 7th at least. He is no longer in the group battling for 3rd anymore, and unless Loudon and Milikangas go side by side again and fight a lot, then Sanders is going to be resigned to hoping the reverse grid is large enough to include him in it.
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, you never want to sacrifice points though. He'd rather finish on the podium now and then start a little bit further back in the second race. You'd always want to bag the points when you can, but this could work out nicely. P5 to 10 is the reverse when we get to the end of this race. We're already 2/3 of the way done, 10 down, 5 to go in this race. The top 2 have got away by 4 seconds. Woodhatch leads as he has from the start, but championship leader Brownlee is right behind him, and to be honest, keeping him company. It was close in qualifying. Woodhatch had the little bit of an edge, but in the race, the green machine here of Brownlee's using that slipstream and keeping up with him, and they've got away by 4 seconds to Loudon, who's now got a big job to hold on to that podium.
2 laps to go, by the way. 3 laps to go when they get to the line, rather. And I'm just wondering at what stage Brownlee is going to start to try and make a move here, because it's not one of those circuits where you can sort of out-drag him to the line. That's going to be impossible, I would say. It's not a circuit where there's an obvious overtaking chance. There's a number of, I would describe as maybe a bit better than half chances, but there's certainly no glaring chance to an obvious place to get through. And so what point does Brownlee start to put those feelers out there and start to probe and look here? Maybe he already has been learning by driving behind Woodhatch, but it's going to be interesting, I think, to see when he makes the first proper move. There's been all sorts of change further back here. Decker went into a spin, then rejoined, and looks like we got away with that. There was all sorts going on back there, though. I noticed Jonathan Smith is down pit lane as well as Kendo now.
Yes, so Decker, I think he went to the back of Sam Sanders. Well, we'll work that in a second as Melikangas goes for third place down the inside. This is Loudon in that yellow car, but this is just going to open the door to Sherwood to get through. So Melikangas trying to make the move. He might actually lose a position here overall, as the number 2 machine of Sherwood is trying his best to try and recoup some points after a disappointing round last week at Snetterton. But look at the aggressive move there from the 24. Gets it back, keeps that 4th place. But oh my word, these drivers, they just go for everything, don't they? And also, don't forget Hopper, who's sitting in behind. He's now getting the run. He goes to the outside down the back straight. He tries to make something work, but backs out of it in the braking zone.
Yeah, I had to really. Sherwood wasn't going to give him any room by the looks of that, so had to step on the brakes there a bit more sharply and stay out of it. 2 laps to go, as I say, when they get to the line, and the gap suddenly between Bramley and Woodhatch is 1.4. There's clearly been a mistake there, and there's the disadvantage of waiting for so long. So I do understand why Bramley did it, and I would have as well, to try and gap these guys and make it a 2-driver group. But unfortunately, he's either lost speed or made a mistake and allowed Woodhatch now to cruise home.
And the 24 Melikangas there trying to get Loudon for 3rd. He's looking at 5th place just half a lap ago, but now it might be 3rd. He gets side by side as we come up this main straight. He has the inside line, couple laps to go in the race. Loudon has the edge though. He's got his front wheel ahead, but in the braking zone, Melikangas sends it down the inside, tries to squeeze it wide, but no, there's just enough space on the outside for Loudon. Once again, this opens up the opportunity for Sherwood. He's got himself through Denton's in towards Cascades. Unfortunately, Loudon breaks a little bit early, blocks off the space that he would have wanted to dive into, but he has got the run as he work away down this back straight. And even Hopper's trying to get involved. Oh, huge crash in the background. Sanders has gone off. 3rd place in the championship, and Rebecca Morell, they're trying to go side by side in towards Cascades. As for what we see on screen, Sherwood has got through into 4th place, and now Melikangas holds on from Hopper.
And so Sanders and Kendall, who are Hayden Bramley's 2... Oh, goodness me. It's hard to know from that replay whether it was Sanders coming across on Morell or the other way round. Morell's front left pops off at the very end of that sequence, unfortunately. And so Rebecca Morell out of this race. Alongside through turn 2. It's just one of those, I suppose, isn't it? You get away with that in a non-open wheel car, but I'm afraid in these cars where the wheels are very exposed and they're very likely to contact each other, you're always going to make contact. I'd be willing to chalk that down as a racing incident, to be honest, but I think maybe the 2 of them would disagree.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad shout. Close enough with that. Just a little kink of Denton's just brought them together a little bit. No one was sort of moving left or right, but anyway, we'll leave that up towards the stewards if it gets to the stewards' room. But that's a big shame for Sanders. And I did say today a couple of drivers will be using this as a drop round, and maybe Sanders and Kendall, ironically, top of the championship, they will be fighting for that final lap time. Woodhatch leads by 2 seconds out from Bramley. He's been able to drop him, but this is the battle in behind. Loudon, yellow car, he is holding on from Sherwood in the blue, and now Melikangas in the black, as these are the 3 who are going for it. We also have Jamie Hopper in behind as well. 4 drivers with 3 wide into the first corner. Decker's in the middle of that. He's got Gade behind him. McClements, who was off on the first lap, he's now up inside the top 10. But also, don't forget Mark Winter, who's off the track as well. That is just how these battles go in this championship. You can still fight for the top 10 on the final lap.
What a completely ridiculous sight to cut to there. They'll go 3 wide in towards turn 1. Didn't know what was going on. They still don't. Oh, in towards 4. That was really close. Mark Winter trying to regain these places, and he's spinning. Oh, he's going to get collected here as well. And there's someone up in the air. It's all happening. Mark Winter spins through turn 4 for the 2nd time in this race, trying to win those places back alongside Jeffrey Decker, who's also trying to win some places back. And it all goes wrong on the last lap.
Let's hope it doesn't, though, in the battle for the podium place. Round the outside, Sherwood's going to go. He's going to hold it. He's got the tyre barrier on his inside. They give each other room, but Loudon's going to hold on. And now Melikangas thinking about diving up the inside of Knickerbrook. But look at the terrible run that Loudon's got. Bad momentum up the hill. And these cars are all about the momentum. In towards Druids. Is it going to be left? Is it going to be right for Sherwood? He's thinking about it, but he has to wait surely until Lodge Corner. The issue is he's got Melikangas behind him. As we come up towards the final corner, though, Woodhatch is going to be leading the way by 2 seconds. He got the pole, and he led from the start. He held onto the pressure from Bramley, and in the end is going to win by 2 seconds to take victory this season. As Bramley, your championship leader, solid 2nd place finish, but for 3rd place is going to be Loudon. But who's in behind him? It's going to be a 3 wide finish. Contact with Melikangas up towards the line. I think Sherwood just about hold on, and unfortunately Jamie Hopper 3 wide has to sit there in 6th place. Lynn will have a quiet 7th place finish, and look at all these drivers. McClements, from the spinning on their first lap, will drop down to 10th place in the end. Decker, he was around as well, got 11th, and Sam Sanders, 3rd place in the championship, is going to come across the line in 12th. What a ridiculous race to open up the evening. It was very calm for Woodhatch, but in behind him, all hell went loose.
It certainly did. That was remarkable stuff between, especially those guys in the midfield and towards the back. But while the race winner was Crofton Woodhatch, you'd have to say that the winner out of the race, I suppose, is Hayden Bramley. Most of the drivers who are close to him finishing a long way down. Matt Kendall, of course, last, and Sam Sanders outside the top 10, with Hayden Bramley only losing out to Crofton Woodhatch. He'll absolutely take that as far as the championship is concerned.
Absolutely. Let's see what the reverse grid is going to be, though. So these positions, this number of positions, will be reversed for the grid for the next race. Between 5 and 10, we've had some big, we've had some small. I'm pretty sure we had this last time. It was 8 in Snetterton. I'm pretty sure we're going to get 8 again as we hit Oulton Park for the reverse grid. That is going to be a whole load of fun. So I believe that's going to be Matthew Jordan in the 86 machine who will be the reverse grid pole. That is certainly going to be a whole load of fun in a few moments' time when we get there. But let's see the grid. Yes, it is going to be Matthew Jordan. But after 9 laps, it was Woodhatch from Bramley, Loudon and Sherwood, Millicangus your top 5, Hopper and Lynn inside the top 7, Jordan, Rass and McClements your top 10, with Bramley getting the fastest lap actually, so there's an extra point there for him as well. Decker was in 11th, with Sanders unfortunately down in P12 in the end. Gade and then Jonathan Smith from the back of the grid up into 14th place. Winter and Charlie Summers, the final drivers on the lead lap, with Dovenbell, Morel, Kendall having some issues there. Now, of course, the 19 cars out on the field. And as the drivers obviously get themselves prepared for the next race, we'll try and get a word with them as they join us in the commentary booth. We'll firstly bring in Crofton Woodhatch. And Crofton, you had pole position once again. I believe that's your 3rd of the season, looking very, very fast. But in the race, you had quite a bit of company from Hayden in behind you. Firstly, let's take you through the qualifying session. It was very close after the first couple of laps, but then you pulled one out of the bag at the end.
Yeah, the qualifying wasn't actually that good, to be honest. The first 2 laps were okay. I off-tracked one of them, and then the final lap was off-tracked as well, I think. I did enough on that 3rd lap to get the pole, but it should have been a couple of tenths quicker from the pace in the race and stuff. You can see that there's pace in it. But no, it was good enough to put me on pole, which is what I needed. I needed a win, so I'm happy.
Absolutely. And what do you think going in towards the next race? You got P8 as the reverse grid, which I think is actually the same as last time. So a number you're fairly familiar with, but the reverse grids have been a bit tricky for you. How do you think you can claim some points back in the championship with Hayden obviously finishing 2nd there?
Yeah, it seems that the first race is good and then the second race is bad for me at the minute. So it's just trying to gain some positions and keep it clean, really. P8 isn't terrible. It's not P10. I would have liked P5. But no, looking at the people that finished in the top 8, I should be able to get past some people. But I don't know. It's a tight track, so I think you can get the runs and stuff. From what it looked like with Hayden, it looked like he could have gone for a move in multiple places if he wanted to. But I think he was just staying behind to fight on the final lap or something, maybe. So I think it's possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because there's one point in the middle of the race, he was basically just following you, just, a tenth of a second behind. Were you worried at that point, or was it purely just controlling the race? And did you leave sort of something in hand with your pace?
No, I was pushing as hard as I could. But I saw that they had contact, and I feel like Hayden was driving a bit like he wanted to try and pull away from the guys behind, so that if he does get a 5-second penalty or whatever, he doesn't drop too far down. So he wasn't ever really going for a move. I think on the final lap I would have been able to defend it as well if he went for it. But no, the pace was as much as I could do, I think.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'll let you obviously get prepared for the second race, and good luck starting down in 8th place.
Thank you.
And then we will bring in Hayden Brownlee, number 26 in that green machine, coming in 2nd place in the end. And Hayden, that was a very solid race from you. It looked like you were very calm. You were very sort of composed, weren't necessarily going in for any crazy moves. So that must have been a really sort of comfortable race for your championship.
Yeah, it started out pretty calm. I think we all saw like just getting the settler, getting like the flow of it. But Matt was batting up quite a bit, so I thought I'll give it a go, and obviously that ended up with him in the wall. And I mean, I've looked back at the incident. I'm not entirely sure if I can put blame on myself, but we'll wait for the stewards and with what they see.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely looked like it was a tight one. Was that an extra hard battle because of the championship, or just because of how narrow and tough this track is?
No, I wasn't really too much thinking about who's where in the championship. I'm just focusing on getting as many points out of it as I can. I had the opportunity to fight Crofton as well, but I'm just choosing the safer option, and unfortunately I don't think I did it properly. But yeah, I'm just going for what I think is the best I can get out of each race.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're certainly looking very good. So what do you think your chances are? Going to be starting from 7th place with the reverse grid. So do you think you're going to be able to work your way through, or is it one of those races where you're just going to hold back a bit and just try and take maybe an easy top 5?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take what comes to me. The first few laps are always going to be quite good opportunities, so definitely looking for the opportunities in them first few laps. I mean, I love Oulton. I've done plenty of racing around here, so I know where I can overtake. But yeah, I'm not going to try not to risk anything this race. Just take the easy options.
Yeah, well, certainly you're having a good season. You've got 4 second places on the track this season, so you're doing very, very well. And obviously the 1 win back at Thruxton. So yeah, doing a good job, and good luck for race number 2.
Yeah, thank you.
And then lastly, for the podium, we will bring in Brandon Loudon, who had some crazy overtakes and defending there in that race, Brandon. In the end, it was with a 3rd position, but that certainly wasn't an easy one.
No, it really wasn't an easy one. It was a battle and a half. I was just defending for my life. I don't even know who I was defending against. I was just making it known that I was not moving from my position that I had right away to, and I was doing my hardest to defend the 3rd position. First, a couple I was keeping up, but then people just decided to decide on my inside, and I was like, I'm gonna keep it on your outside and just do some sketchy moves that normally isn't done, because I'm used to this track now. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think, okay, in the end you were leading the battle when you came out on top, but do you think it might be easier being sort of the 2nd or 3rd car in line sometimes around here? Because I mean, you were defending really hard there, trying to make something work, but it was Timu and Jaden at the end there. I mean, they were really trying to send it down the inside. It must be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure, definitely. Like I said, I didn't even know who was I was defending against. I was just in the VR. I was making sure that I was leaving the space, and I was just hoping for the best. Like I said, it just I really outdone myself there on that race, and I thought I defended really well.
And regarding the championship, you had a couple of podiums now. You are about 8th position in the championship. So you do have a little way to go in terms of catching up the points. Do you think there's a way you can challenge for the top 5, maybe top 3 towards the end of the season? Do you reckon you can grab a race victory?
Definitely. I'm going to try and push for a race victory if they allow me to, and allow me to battle with the top 2. I would definitely take it out, and I'll battle with the top 2. Just depends if I'm on pace for the day. And today I was on pace, so I'll keep it there.
Absolutely. And from 6th place on the grid you'll be for this next race. What do you think your chances are of getting up into the more solid points?
I'm just going to keep myself aware of what the track can bring in the inside lanes and in the outside lanes on the sweepers. So I'm just going to make myself aware to basically just be positioned on the track correctly and just having a bit of fun.
Absolutely. Good luck, and we'll give you a few minutes there of the practice. So
Thank you.
enjoy the next race.
Thank you.
All right, and that obviously ends the interviews for the first race. But Ewan, just a couple more minutes, we'll get towards the second race. So, sort of in conclusion from that, we know Woodhatch has got the pace. We know, obviously, in behind there's a big battle with Brown and Kendall. I guess Kendall would have had the pace as well. So it looks like we are seeing a few drivers sort of put their name forward for this championship.
Yeah, I would say so. It was very clear. I think maybe defined a little bit more actually at Snetterton last week, where we saw sort of a breakaway group of however many, and everybody was there pretty much from those championship contenders. So yeah, that race last week especially was pretty defining. But I mean, this one as well. We're starting to see though a top few emerge. Bramley is definitely the championship leader by some margin now. I'd imagine it's probably over 20 points now after that race. The other's going to have to try and catch that back again, but I said earlier on that Woodhatch is going to have to start gaining some back as well himself. If he wants to be the champion by the end of the season, well, he certainly did that in that first race of the day, so he should be very pleased with the job done first time round. But as he said, starting 8th in a reverse grid's not easy, so that's what he's got to deal with coming up next.
Now, a little bit of discussion on the incident as well between Kendall and Bramley, working their way through cascades there. Very tight, top couple of drivers in the championship fighting for position as well. Hard to really sort of guess. I mean, it wasn't a big shove to the outside, but do you think from Kendall's point of view, obviously we weren't able to get to his opinion on that, but do you think in a similar situation like that is worth backing out, or do you think he just has to go for it as well when you're battling for a championship?
Yeah, I think you do have to go for it in that situation. Maybe with hindsight, you say not, but if you back out of that, then it's easy to see that if we'd just carried on a lot longer, and maybe an incident would have happened again a little bit later on. I don't know, but I think if Bramley had gone any further in terms of pushing him wider, then that would have been sort of over the line and sort of frowned upon. But he just about pushed it far enough, I think, to have gotten away with that, or not far enough to get away with that. And in the end, I wouldn't say he did too much wrong there. Obviously, Kendall may feel a little bit different. There was a little bit of contact. It did put him out to the outside curb, but ultimately, I think he could have gotten away with that, and he could have controlled that. Again, with hindsight, it's easy to say he should have backed out, but you're never going to think that in the moment before the incidents happened.
And this is another driver of 34 of Sam Sanders, third place in the championship, and he got involved in a couple of incidents, didn't he? Once again, very close, that battle for the podium up in the top 5, and then even, he had the incident, he went back, he then got caught up in another incident with Morel for about P8, P9 at the time. So definitely some drivers losing some points today, and as I said, a few drivers will be taking this as a drop round, so maybe it's not going to count for them, but you're still going to try and get the points you can on the board, because you never know what is going to happen. You may end up having a double DNF at further races this season, as we have just 30 seconds remaining of this practice session before we get to the reverse grid. Top 8 will be reversed, and we got Woodhatch starting for P8. What position do you think he's going to get?
I don't think he's going to win. I think it's more likely, actually, that a group starts to form in front of him and he can do nothing about it, actually. It really depends where that group comes in. I'm going to presume that it's going to be roughly the same as last round and last race, and say that it'll be third place he'll be fighting for, and I'll say that he's going to get it. I just think when you're starting from 8th position, it's not necessarily the 7 overtakes that you have to make to get to the lead. For me, it's more about the potential for a break in the field up in front of you that is going to prevent you effectively from even battling for the race win.
And as we get to the end of this practice session, we'll have a quick rundown of the grid for this race. Remember, top 8 are reversed. The rest of the positions will be where they finished in the first race, but points are rewarded the same. So it's Matthew Jordan on the pole with Wan Chi Lin alongside him. Then we have Hopper and Miller Kangis, then Sherwood and Loudon, your top 6 drivers. All looking very nicely indeed. And then Bramley and Woodhatch, that is your reverse grid drivers. Then we have Rass, McClements, Decker and Sanders Sanders just missing out on the reverse grid, with Gade, Smith, Winter, Summers, Dothenbauer and Morel in the top 18, with the final driver at the back, Matt Kendall, who came into this third place in the championship, but unfortunately dropped down to 5th after those points lost, with it being so close. Just another 15 minutes on the clock for these drivers to try and work it out. We have McClements win back at Snetterton from the reverse grid pole. He was able to hold on to that. Is that a good omen, or is it going to be a different story today with Matthew Jordan, the 86 machine? He's down in 12th place in the standings. He's got a best position of P5, but he now starts from the front of the grid. And the Formula Ford 1600s is going to get underway for their final race of the evening here at Oulton Park. And it's a solid start from most of the drivers, as we are going to see. Driver, I think it's Brandon Loudon's actually missed the grid, so he wasn't there. There's a pit box missing. And in towards turn 1, Jordan is going to hold on, but Lynn is going to get a bit of an up and under. We work our way down towards Denton's, in towards Cascades. We're side by side with Milikangas and Hopper, continuing their battle from the first race. Around the outside, Milikangas is going to go. He's trying to chop off the nose. He's done so. And as Wanchi didn't get pushed out, Milikangas might have a run for the lead here.
Yeah, he's seen a big opportunity with most of his rivals who you'd expect to see near him quite a long way back. He's going to try and take the lead and run away with it early. As he goes to the outside of turn 4, he can't do it. Here come the others as well. Bramley just looking to stay out of trouble. Slash make overtakes and maybe a 2-in-1 round the outside of the turn 5 backed right-hander. He's nearly in 3rd place.
This has worked out very nicely for him, hasn't it? But this is not a place to make the overtake. He's going to make it work, though, up the inside of Hopper, who backs out of it, and it's a little bit of an awkward one, so they lose a couple of car lengths, but importantly, Bramley's up into 3rd place. Milikangas now sees an opportunity to take the lead here, down in towards his chicane. Round the outside is going to be for the white machine, and he's certainly done it, but he's going to get a little bit of contact. He's going to have to back out of that one to not hit the tyre machine, and now Bramley is up there back into 3rd place.
Yeah, well, that's a dream start really for Bramley as far as the championship is concerned. Once again, Milikangas, as I say, saw a real good opportunity there to get to the lead and get away before anybody like Bramley or Woodhatch got anywhere near him. But on this occasion, hasn't been able to. And maybe, like last week, we are going to see the reverse grid guys actually stay with the top guys once they've been given the track position at the start of the day, which of course they get in a reverse grid. Here comes Milikangas, though. He might well be leading by turn 1.
Yeah, this was pretty crazy. We're 2x2x2 down in towards Lodge, and now Milikangas has the inside in towards Old Hall. He's going to make it work. He's going to get the lead here at the start of lap number 2, and around the outside Hopper goes all over the grass, but it might work out. He's got the momentum as he tries to get Bramley. Oh, huge contact there. Milikangas gets nudged out, and that's going to be Jordan. Oh, big contact in the background. Bramley's going to go round. We've got Hopper, Woodhatch involved, loads of cars getting. Decker just about gets through the middle. Sam Sanders once again this evening is going to have contact, and also further drivers. Is that Jonathan Smith is the other car that's gone around, so that is not a nice opening to lap number 2. That was all looking settled through the first corner, but as we got down into the second, we had a bunch of issues for a number of drivers.
Absolutely, that's a big incident down through Cascades, and that's why you saw in the first race those 2 drivers wanting to get away so quickly, and they ended up doing, Woodhatch and Bramley, because they didn't want to be involved in anything like that. In the end, that incident for 3rd place last race didn't really ever happen, but within 2 minutes here, it has happened in this battle for the lead, so that's exactly why they've been wanting to get away. Fortunately for Bramley, who drops down to the back, as you say, Woodhatch was slowed by that, although he is still in 6th place, and Sanders was taken out in it as well. So it's not terrible damage, although Milikangas and Sherwood are still here, and Woodhatch is still 6th.
Yeah, this is big for the championship, though, because we've got drivers like Hayden Bramley. He's been so consistent so far. He's going to be losing points, and this would definitely be a drop round for him. Side by side we go in towards the final corner. And it's got McClemens trying to come up for this battle as well. But first of all, Milikangas goes around the outside. He hasn't got the lead probably just yet this race, as it's going to be Matthew Jordan holding on. Even Sherwood's trying to get involved here in the background. McClemens in the green machine is trying to make it 2x2 in towards the first corner. Jordan's going to just squeeze Milikangas out wide, contact between them, and he's pushed wide. Milikangas will take the lead, but Sherwood is going to use that opportunity. He's got the momentum, and he takes it himself from 3rd to 1st in one corner, and now McClemens round the outside, so Milikangas squeezing on the outside has not worked, as he's actually net lost 1 place.
Yeah, Milikangas just misjudging that really out of turn number 1 and getting into the back of the driver in front of him. Elements goes to the outside, but can't go through there. Here comes Milakangis on the outside again. He's going to brake early. Maybe put off a little bit by that incident a couple of moments ago. And he'll have to hope that there's no damage on that car either, because as ever with these, the straight line speed very important. You spend so long on the straight that the aerodynamics or lack thereof of these cars can't be bent out of shape too much. You need to be very careful of that, otherwise you'll be in a lot of trouble for the rest of the race. So Milakangis maybe is just going to bide his time a little bit more, but this group swells in size again as they continue to fight. Mario Brass and Christopher Wood definitively here again now.
So here is Sam Sanders, unfortunately just making contact with Bramley. He was trying to go on the inside, nowhere to go. And in the background, there's just a little blue car there, which was Smith also having a bit of a spin, getting involved in that one. Not a nice incident, as I think Morel and Winter were the other drivers involved. 10 minutes to go, down towards the final corner. Sherwood is leading the way, but for how long is it going to be? We're 2x2 once again. But Clements on the outside in the green machine, trying to make it work. As he work away out to the final corner, oh, he's gone wide. Contact is going to be made with Sherwood, and now Milakangis is going to try and make it 3 wide. He's going to go through the middle in that white machine. He's going for the lead. They tried to do a couple of laps ago, didn't work out. 3 wide in towards the first corner. Sherwood holds on. Milakangis second place, and McClements just about in third on the outside.
Yeah, his tempered aggression didn't last too long, Timo Milakangis, and he's coming back again. Outside of Jaden Sherwood into Cascades. He can't do it. McClements will now get alongside him, and he's got to be very careful now, Milakangis, that this doesn't get worse, as Matthew Jordan's waiting in the wings just in the background there as well. He'll be sat and wondering when he can come through as well, as Milakangis to the outside through turn 4. Really close with McClements. He wants to switch to the outside here and get ahead of Sherwood, but still can't. He's boxed in effectively here towards turn 5.
Oh, this is very awkward indeed. Here's McClements, and that's a great camera angle as he work away in towards Britons. And he's contact from behind. That must be Milakangis, but McClements holds on, and he keeps in second place. Milakangis in third. He's actually lost a bit of time there, so Jordan is all over the back of him, down towards the Hislop chicane. Jordan thinks about it to the inside, but he's actually defending a little bit from Woodhatch. He's got back involved, but look at the train of cars in behind you. We've got Decker, Lynn, Hopper, all joining on. It's basically 9 cars for the lead.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to swell as well. Isaac is not too far away either. This is absolutely fantastic to see, and exactly what you want from these FF1600s. And I think what I said earlier on is I'm not sure quite proving to be true to the degree that I was expecting it to be, but the balance between being able to attack and defend is a little bit more even. It is possible to defend around here, and the overtakes are not a foregone conclusion like they can be at some circuits in these cars. That balance is really creating good racing at the moment, but it is slowing them down a lot, and it's meaning this front group swells again.
McClements trying to go for another race victory. What would that be? I mean, he didn't get points in the first 3 races of the season, and now he's trying to get 2 wins in 3. Crazy stuff. As he gets to the front, he takes the lead, but is not over just yet, because Sherwood goes to the outside with 2x2. Woodhatch is coming for third place, but he might lose that. Oh, no, contact is made, and further contact as your pole sitter Jordan gets involved with that one, and he's absolutely fuming with that. He's got potentially a little bit of steering damage, but just showed you how easy it is to make a mistake. And now we've got Sherwood, Milakangis and Woodhatch your top 3, but this is not over yet.
Yeah, 2 of the 10 taken out, but the other 8 survive, and Jaden Sherwood will lead past half distance. I'm unsure as to whether Milakangis is the catalyst, or indeed the starting point of that incident we just saw there coming out of Cascades, but he was certainly around that point as Sherwood goes wide through the first chicane, and he's going to be under attack from Milakangis now into Hislops once again here.
Milakangis on the outside, trying to make it work. Doesn't do so. Oh, contact in the background. Wanchi Lin, I think it was Hopper, hit the back of him. Lin goes off. Gade gets through as well. Yeah, Lin is off. He's onto the grass. And after having a bit of a disappointing first race going off in the grass, he goes off in the second race as well. Really enjoying the lawn mowing out there today. Milakangis in second, holds on to Woodhatch, but Woodhatch has the inside for Druids. Don't always see a move here, but a 22 has made it work, and he's got up into second place.
Well, I thought there would be a duo go up front, to be honest, preventing Woodhatch from actually fighting for the lead like this, but he's clearly got the speed tonight to battle up here. Oh, and there's contact meantime. Milakangis was hit into the final turn. He's going to survive. While that was happening, the replay showing, I mean, I'm not sure how much else we can read into that. That's Wanchi Lin that, oh dear, that's quite unfortunate. A very small bit of contact there sends him off, and Milakangis might have even got a drive through there, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, there was definitely some sort of crash coming out the final corner. I wasn't looking, but suddenly the front group's down to 2.
Yeah, so Sherwood leads from Woodhatch. Milikangas has gone down pit road. Decker is now in the third. Cade is in fourth. McClements continues on in sixth place after a crash one lap ago. Here comes Woodhatch for the lead, though. Your winner from the first race, and he gets back to the front in the second. He started from eighth place. He sat patiently for a few laps, and now with just over 5 minutes to go, he hits the front after some incidents in front of him. Open up the door, and then a clean move there on Jaden Sherwood. So Jaden, who led the championship after the first couple of rounds, is now following through in second place.
Absolutely. And of course, he's still a championship contender, you would say, as well. Only started the day 6 points behind Croft and Woodhatch, but especially with Bramley so far down, this is going to be Woodhatch reinstating his claim to the top of the standings. Is that one she Lynn still?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Press escape, mate. Come on, let's go back to the garage.
I don't think he is still anywhere near his rig or his keyboard at the moment to press. Now he does, but. Might have been one of those moments where you just walk away and forget that this ever happened, because that was a bad moment. I mean, Lynn was taken out into that chicane. I don't think there's any other way around that, and it was a very small bit of contact that gave him rear damage. But again, that's what these cars are like. I mean, you can see the suspension with your eyes without taking any of the car off. So that says it all, really.
I mean, it's easy to work on, but not necessarily good when you're having these battles. And we've seen it a few times, haven't we? These cars are very much on the limit. And, I mean, they don't even have proper slick tyres. If you have a look on an onboard, they do have groove tyres. We can keep going when the rain comes down. They do not have a lot of grip out there as Loudon gets Dovenbauer. So Loudon, who I think I said at the time was not on the grid at the start, is now up into 6th place, 10 seconds off the lead. This is crazy scenes that we're seeing today at Oulton Park. Anything can happen in these races. Milikangas has gone through pit lane. He's down in 10th place. Kendall from the back is up into 9th. Smith, who was around at one point, is in 8th place. It is all over the shop here at Oulton Park. As we work our way down towards Shallows, once again, Loudon should be able to hold on to that one and regain some points that he lost after that bad start.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I don't know if we're ever going to find out why he was on the grid there, but anyway, he is up to 6th again now. Maybe it wasn't the worst idea, to be honest, to get out of that and make up places later. We've only got 11 on the lead lap, I think, which tells you everything you need to know about this race. Very, very chaotic indeed, but still with a couple of battles here and there. The one for the lead probably is going to be the most interesting if Sherwood's fast enough to get anywhere near making this overtake. 2 laps to go as they cross the line this time around with 3 minutes left. We'll just, as we look ahead to the F4 Championship, just wonder if it's going to be the same, because this circuit doesn't normally, I must say, at least in my personal opinion, provide quite this much action that we're seeing so far.
Yeah, this is awesome. We did have a very interesting race last year with a bit of rain out there, if I remember rightly. But you don't need that for action around Oulton Park. It's tight, it's twisty, and it's very, very tricky indeed. 2.5 minutes remain. Woodhatch leads by half a second. They got 4 seconds back to Jeffrey Decker, who looks very nice for a 3rd place finish, because he's got another couple of seconds to Isaac Gade. Clements there is getting close, though, to Isaac for 4th position. And this is the battle in behind, Loudon and Dovenbauer. And they've also got Jonathan Smith just trying to chase him down in the blue car. In the background, a shot as well. But it looks like Loudon just able to hold on, just like as like 10th or so advantage, that Dovenbauer is not able to really even use the slipstream to try and make a move back. But this race is quite something else. But yeah, don't forget, we've got British F4 Esports Championship coming up. They've got 2 more races, and it is not over for the action for tonight. So there's Paige in the number 3 machine trying to chase back down Brandon up ahead.
Yeah, so just staying with Brandon Loudon, I think, is the key for now, and then you can try and push past it in the later laps. But as we saw in the first part of the first race, actually, from Hayden Bramley, maybe it isn't the worst idea to actually just try and make the pass whenever you actually can and not wait around. But let's see whether that's going to be the case or not. Jonathan Smith and Matt Kendall not too far away, may be discouraging Dovenbauer from going for anything just for now, because as we know, we've seen time and again, battling swells the group. Maybe not if you've got 3 seconds behind you, though. McClemens and Gader exploiting that at the moment for 4th.
Yeah, what a lovely battle as McClemens, who was looking to be leading the race, went down and now is trying to hold on to this 4th place. But Isaac is really trying to fight that on the outside as well. I mean, Isaac is 15th place in the championship. He's only got 1 points finish, or sorry, 1 top 10, I should say, to his name. So he really needs to be trying to get as many points as he can in this championship. And there's 1 position right ahead of him, but McClements is going to be holding on to that one. Final lap time comes out. Woodhatch leads as the gap grows just a little bit. Sherwood not able to challenge just yet. In towards Cascades. Is there going to be any sense here from Gade as he sees a top 4 finish in his sights?
Absolutely. I mean, the top 5, whichever way around this is going to finish, is going to be a positive for either of these two, especially Gade, you'd have to say, who's not in the top 10 in the championship coming into today. However, would still very much like whatever you can get from this, and indeed knowing this is the last lap, you know that the guys behind aren't going to catch up. And I guess in the battle for 6th, the same applies, but out front, Crofter Woodhatch is still looking over his shoulder. Jaden Sherwood 6 tenths of a second behind. You'd have to say that is too far, and again, contrary to a lot of other circuits we've got on this calendar, you can actually defend or indeed break away at this circuit because it is so technical. I think that balance has been struck very, very well in this series here tonight.
Yes, it certainly has, but something you don't often get in this series is a double winner. It's so difficult with the reverse grid, with all the contact and the collision that we've seen, and so far this season we have not had a double winner at all, or not really even close. But today it is going to be Woodhatch. He got the pole position, he got the race 1 win. Now as he works his way through the final corner at Lodge, it is going to be a double victory for this evening for Woodhatch, and he puts himself right back in championship contention once again, and that is going to be an amazing double victory for the 22 who holds on from Sherwood. And with Decker, he's going to be getting himself a very nice finish there in the 13 machine up into 3rd place. McClements holds on just about from Gade for your top 5 positions as well, and Jeffrey Decker's top best finish so far this season was a 5th, so getting that podium is going to be very good indeed. Unfortunately, a few drivers had some issues today, as Milikangas there being pushed by Charlie Summers across the line. Milikangas, one of those drivers, Sam Sanders as well. Matt Kendall having a terrible evening really from what he would have wanted to do. But here is the results for race number 2. Woodhatch by just under a second got Sherwood, and Decker is your podium. McClements, Gade and Loudon are in next, and then Dovenbar, Smith, Kendall and Milikangas, with Woodhatch also getting the fastest lap and the extra point there on lap number 9. Summers, Winter and Jordan, and then we have Rass, Hopper, Lynn, Morell, Sanders and Brownlee. Sanders and Brownlee, that is a big one there down at the end of the field. But let's try and obviously get a word with these drivers and see what is happening. We're going to get Crofton Woodhatch, who, to be honest, I wasn't sure if we were going to speak to you again, Crofton, just with how crazy some of these races are, but you managed to avoid the drama. How do you feel after getting 2 victories in one evening?
Yeah, neither was I, to be honest. That is literally that is just what I needed, pretty much. I needed some of my rivals to have a bad round and me to have a really good round, and it seems to have worked. I don't know how I made it to the end of that race, really, with some of the stuff that happened in front of me that I was able to miss. But no, just happy to be able to stay out of it and get 2 wins.
Yeah, you're making some fairly daring moves. I mean, at one point you're side by side through Cascades down towards the Island Bend. I mean, you still had to work for that one. Were you trying to balance that risk versus reward still at that moment, or were you just still going for every sort of door that opened up in front of you?
To be honest, I was trying to stay behind everyone and just hope that they took each other off, which happened. But the one point at where I sort of went for a side-by-side with someone is when half of the grid got wiped out. So maybe I should have stuck behind, and then I could have got an even better run through. And but no, it was I saw Hayden get a good start. He had a good lap 1, so I saw that he had got quite a few positions. So I knew that I needed to be aggressive at some point. But it was my plan was to just sort of see what happens, sit behind, get any positions that I can get, because the win has quite a lot of positions, points over 2nd and 3rd. So I knew I was already in a good spot there, and it worked out.
Yeah, certainly did, and that propels you very much in the championship. Of course, at some point we'll get the drop rounds coming into that. But looking forward, we go to Silverstone next time. Completely different style of track, really, to what we've had so far. How do you think it's going to be on a big Grand Prix track?
Those races, anyone will be able to win. I think the grid is tight enough this year where, not that it wasn't last year, but it was, as long as the packs don't form, I think that anyone can, if they make the right moves, can get through. Obviously, I'm going to try and be at the front again for the first race and then try and lead from the front. But anything can happen. I got a slowdown last year that dropped me to P8 on lap 3 or something. And then I ended up getting back up to the podium. So it's not over if you drop down, and you just got to keep it clean, and maybe might be some rain which might spice it up, but we don't know.
Yes, certainly that'll be for the future. So yeah, we'll see you next week, and good luck with your practice for that.
Thank you.
All right, and then we'll bring in the number 2 machine of Jaden Sherwood, who's having a very solid season. We won't really talk about last time at Snetterton, but for tonight and the rounds before that, you are looking very good for this championship fight. How was that for you in the end? I mean, you probably thought you could sneak the race victory at the end there, Crofton just pipping you, but in general, that was a good race.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. It was just avoiding crashes, which there was a lot of, so did good on that side of things. I did get involved in one incident, but that is a bit unavoidable. I got hit from behind. But yeah, P2 really good. Good points for the championship. Should be right at the sharp end again now. And then I can drop Snetterton, so I'm carrying some really good results in there.
Yes, certainly you're looking good. That's about 3 podiums so far you've had this season in the 8 races. That's looking good. In general, how are you feeling with the car? I mean, you had such a great run at Thruxton, getting a first and a second, so you're obviously looking very good. So what do you think you can really do for the rest of the season halfway through now?
I mean, yeah, the next tracks are like my favourite sort of tracks, the fast tracks where Slipstream's like really strong. Got Zandvoort coming up, Silverstone. I feel like really confident for them tracks. I think they're quite similar to Thruxton as well, like really high speed. So yeah, it should be good. I feel confident. Like I said, I should be in a decent spot for the championship, where I'm hopefully fighting for the championship, but we'll just see how it goes.
Absolutely. So yeah, congratulations on another podium, and hopefully we'll speak to you next week in Silverstone as well.
Hopefully, thank you.
All right, and then we'll bring in Jeffrey Decker as well, whose best finish to date was a P5. But Jeffrey, in the end, you're going to be getting a podium. There are some issues ahead of you. Just what were you thinking when you saw all of that?
Just don't die. It was just a wall of cars and smoke, so I was just trying to find some path through. Yeah, a lot of change of directions, wiggling between cars, but yeah, I don't know how I got through, but yeah, it was nice.
And your performances are getting better and better so far this season. You didn't get many points from the first couple of rounds. You had a double retirement Thruxton's, but since then you've got 3 top 8 finishes. You now got the podium, got a top 5 as well. What do you think you can do in the second half of the season?
Yeah, more of the same. I feel like I just underperformed those first 2 weeks, and just been having some silly mistakes. So I'm trying to clean those up, be a little bit more prepared for qualifying. I feel like that's still where I'm falling short. So I don't know. I want to run with these guys at the front. I know I could do it. It's just, yeah, now that I'm kind of a little bit further back up points, I also want to be careful not to ruin any of their seasons, because I think I'm just a little bit too far to really challenge for anything for season standings. But yeah, just pulling some good results in the final rounds, I'll be happy.
Yeah, certainly. Well, congratulations for your podium today. And yeah, we'll see you next week at Silverstone.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
All right, so that wraps up the 4x4 1600s, but that is not all of the racing tonight. We'll be back in a few moments for the British 4x4 Esports Championship. Well, that is not all of the racing tonight. We go to the Formula 4 Esports Championship, and I can't wait to see what this is going to do tonight. Oulton Park has been crazy in the Formula 4 1600s, but of course we go to the big boys now, and it's going to be an amazing evening of racing. We have 2 races coming your way. We got a lone 10-minute qualifying session, 2 20-minute races, the reverse grid between P5 and 15 for race number 2 as well. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. At the end of tonight, we are halfway through the championship, and it is getting very, very close indeed. Here's what they are fighting for: a £5,000 prize pool, 2.5 for the winning team, 1.5 for second, and 1 for third place. But of course, we have to thank our partners. We've got Base Performance Simulators. They are, of course, getting a free day for the top 3 in the standings as well. We get some hospitality tickets to a round of the choice for the winners. 4 hospitality tickets, take all your friends and family as well. Of course, we have the BPS award for the pole positions as well. Whoever gets the most gets the steering wheel and the direct drive unit as well. So a lot of nice prizes out there, and a lot to fight for in general with the prestige of this championship coming into its 4th iteration now. And after 3 rounds, it is Caruana leading the way, Gilbert in second, and Henry Moore in third place. There was a whole host of penalties after Snetterton as well, changing things around a little bit. Leo Brown, Moreno, Gogo Baldy inside your top 6, and a few drivers who are starting to just lose a little bit in terms of the points. And we're really seeing a little bit of a breakaway of the top 5 or so drivers going for this championship. Of course, we have the Bennick boys there with Gilbert and Moore looking very, very close, and they lead the Constructors' Championships by quite a decent way as well. We've got Hymo setups there, which of course is Caruana and Chadwick. Chadwick, unfortunately, just struggling a little bit and losing a few points, so that is why they are in behind Bennick. But remember, top 3 in the championship get the prize pool, and is going to be Drive Round Racing, who are there, Leo Brown in that 3rd position. But TC Sports, not too far behind, but is a little bit of a gap further back to the sort of 2nd group of teams. And certainly a tough championship out there to battle for. It is going to be myself, Cameron Roger, Ewan O'Leary, alongside me and Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast as we bring you through the 2 races here tonight. It is going to be a tricky one out there. It is going to be fast, it's going to be frantic, and if anything like the Formula 4 1600s, it is going to be very tricky for these drivers. The qualifying is just getting underway, and we do have the number 1 of Graham Carroll on the grid for today. He's the reserve driver for Ferrari, Scuderia Ferrari this season, and he's bringing out his talent once again after winning the championship from Henry Moore last season, and really good to see him out there once again. As I said, we have a whole host of penalties. We've got exclusions from qualifying for Jasir, Silva, McAuliffe, Shintani, Deslandis. We even have a whole ban for Will Redford for unsportsmanlike behaviour as well. Ewan, it certainly was very chaotic last time out at Snetterton.
Yeah, and Redford, by the way, disqualified from both races last week at Snetterton, so it's now 11th in the standings. That's why you didn't see him on that list there. It was very, very busy in the stewards' room after Snetterton, and that is unsurprising, perhaps, having watched it. The interesting thing, I think, is going to be about Team Bennick now, because they are not the leaders of the Drivers' Championship anymore, even though they are, of course, by far and away the best team, you would say, in this field. What about for the drivers themselves? Matt Caruana has taken the championship lead there, and it's not by a small margin, 13 and 18 points over their 2 drivers. It's not going to feel like that much by the end of the season, I suppose, but it was even closer coming into Snetterton, and these consistent results from Caruana are really beginning to show. 4 podiums in the last 5 races, including a race win back at Donington Park, and never a finish below 7th place. Now, Remy Gilbert has had that as well, but it's the little bit of inconsistency from Henry Moore, I think, which is upturning his season a little bit at the moment. A retirement from race number 2 last week, and 2 finishes outside the top 5. Well, one of those being the retirement. That's why the championship is the way that it looks. We'll see whether this continues or changes with tonight's races at Oulton Park.
Yeah, I think for Henry Moore, obviously, it's just that retirement, really, that was the big problem. I mean, it wasn't really his fault. He got absolutely sent into the barrier, but you lose so many points in his championship when you have that DNF. You know, he's got 3 wins on the season already. If he gets a win tonight, he will be the joint most victorious driver in this championship, you know, in history of the 4 seasons. So he's a very fast driver, but a retirement is so crucial. And this is what Graham Carroll did so well last season, is he knew where he could and could not lose points. We got 7.5 minutes to go in the qualifying session, and he is not looking overly happy with the first half of this lap. He has got the number 1 on his car though, and that is the all-important factor in terms of the results, obviously from last season. He's got Gogo Baldy, his teammate, so it's Jonathan Riley, who's missing out on the results today. Works his way up through Druids, and we'll obviously, let's finish this lap. Let's see what he can do at this point of the lap. It's so fast through here. 4th gear corner, send it in there through Druids, coming down in towards the final corner, and just got to pick your braking zone, undulating towards that point of the track. Find your apex, get back on the gas. 3rd gear as you work away up through Dearly, 4th, 5th, and across the line. What is the lap time? What is the benchmark going to be? It's a 33.0 that he sets right now, but we already get to Olashi. He's beating that up towards the front. That's a bit better for TC Esports, who struggled a bit the last couple of rounds, but so far, any quicker drivers? Yes, Remy Gilbert jumping to the front.
Yeah, no surprise there that Remy Gilbert moves to the front. We'll see what Henry Moore can do in a moment as well, unless that first time is not going to come through from him. It's not going to be representative from Danny Moreno, who was slowing there towards the final corner, looking for a good exit rather than a good lap here and a good second time round, although even that is only a couple of seconds away from Remy Gilbert at the top of the standings. Not a bad lap time, but it was not a proper one from Moreno. He already had an off-track by the looks of it through there, but yeah, good to see Graham Carroll back, as you say, but classic esports driver there, wasn't it? Nothing wrong really with that chicane, but still a shake of the head, and that wasn't very good, because they are such perfectionists.
Well, he's almost 2/10 off the pole, so it clearly was a bad lap. I guess, as you say, perfectionist though. Every little micro slide is so important in this championship. As we see Danny Moreno here with his headband. Was he just lifted off there a little bit as well? Maybe not quite happy with how this qualifying is going. It runs wide there a little bit, so might be, yeah, definitely not happy with that one, as he needs to try and calm down and get back towards the front. We've got Connor up there, up in 4th place. That's a bit better for Alpine as well. So we're seeing a few different drivers. We've got Herman, we've got Smith up there. So maybe this is going to be a little bit of a race where some other drivers are going to be able to get themselves towards the front. We do have over 30 drivers out there, and it's going to be a big battle. Henry Moore goes up into 2nd.
And look at the teammates again, Gilbert and Moore, 1 and 2. Williston Tuolashi, the closest to them at the moment. As you mentioned, TC not having a great race last time out. In fact, Tuolashi hasn't finished in the top 20 since Donington Park and the opening couple of races of the season. That put him right up towards the front, but he hasn't scored very many points. I think he's scored any since then, actually, with no top 20s, so he needs a lot better of a day today, as does Danny Moreno, who didn't finish in the top 10 in either race either. It would be, and Tuolashi struggling with this chicane as well. Maybe I'm making excuses for them, but I do feel like at a circuit round this, an all-British team do have a bit of an advantage over the rest.
It's a proper British circuit, but then it is the British F4 Esports Championship. Of course, we go to Zandvoort in a few weeks' time, penultimate round of the season, a bit of an away trip, but the rest of that, this is a proper old-school circuit, almost Parkland circuit, and definitely not quite made for modern racing, but we still go here because it is so much fun and it is proper fast. As we see Gogo Baldi in the number 13, once again racing in the darkness as he does. He's even got a Ferrari steering wheel. Look at that. He is a proper committed to the team as he comes for another season. Of course, he was with Graham Carroll last season, the two teammates, as they went for the Constructors title with a 13 machine in towards the final corner. Currently sitting in 10th place, 4/10 off. What he's going to do is he comes up towards the line, so 3.5 minutes to go, enough time for another lap, and he comes across the line. Is going to be, that's a little bit off, as a 33.2, at least a little bit off in terms of pole position, I should say. He does jump up 1 place into 9th.
And not a bad lap time, actually, all in all, but it's just so close that it doesn't actually get you very close to the current lead. Oh, Matt Caruana was beginning to wonder where he was. 3 minutes to go, and he gets in front of Gilbert and Moore. I really think, I said this at the end of last week's broadcast, we are really starting to see now a front three emerge for this championship, and I think it is the front three we currently see in this qualifying session. Interestingly, in championship order, also in this session.
And don't forget about Leo Brown, though. Number 33 has a set competitive lap, 5 laps off, 5 seconds a lap off, I should say. But I think it might even be a top 4, but we'll have to see how that one unfolds over the course of the season. Leo Brown is, basically 30 points off. There's a bit of a gap behind him, another 20-odd points back to Danny Moreno. So the Drive Lounge, the sort of sister team as such of Bennett, definitely a lot of pace there. Let's see what he can do. It's a 10th of a second separating the top 3 drivers at this moment in time. 2 and a bit minutes to go. Henry Moore working his way through the final third of the lap, just nudging up against the grass as he worked his way in towards Jewett. Goes just onto the curb on the exit as well, going to the absolute limit in the number 77. Can he try and get his teammate for second, or even get Caruana and the Hymo Setups team for the pole position? Up towards the line it's going to be. Less than a 10th is what he needs for the pole. Can he get across the line? It's going to be a 32.8. That's a solid lap time from Henry Moore, and he is going to obviously just enjoy that 3rd position for now. But that's exactly what you said earlier. So close on the lap time, you don't even improve as Graham Carroll goes up into 4th.
Yeah, you don't get any better position. He's 37 thousandths away now and only 9 thousandths behind his teammate in second, but still no extra places. That's how close it is. Danny Moreno might well get within a 10th of pole here as well. Or is he going to... No, he's not going to blow out the water. Certainly not. He's going to stay where he is, 33.1. That would have only been good enough for 9th, by the way. That's how close this is. Leo Brown still out there. Not sure he's got another lap left, but we'll see. Nathan Tighe coming through the final corner right now and up towards the line as well. See whether he can get within a second maybe of pole. No, he's going to stay pretty much where he is with that lap time as well in 25th position. There will, though, be plenty of drivers behind because 5 of them with no laps in at the moment, most due to qualifying bans.
Yes, we've got McAuliffe, Shintani, Jasir, all with qualifying bans at the moment. Got a couple of reserve drivers going out there as well towards the back of the field. Wembley there, 26th place. Most drivers are in the pit lane though, so we've just got Strabel, who had an exclusion from qualifying last time. He's still out there on the track. We've got Olivia Hayward as well, who's not set a proper time, and that's a big slide in towards the final corner, and that is off into the grass. Not feeling comfortable at this point of the qualifying session. 20 seconds to go and across the line, and there's number 40 of Strabel. He's not going to have enough time to finish this lap, so he will be down in 24th position. So it looks like your championship leader is going to be getting the pole position, and then even actually is in championship order. Gilbert 2nd place in championship, Moore is 3rd place, then it's Leo Brown, who we're missing, down in 7th place to cut that, and then it's even Danny Moreno 5th in the championship, 5th on the grid. That is incredible to see such close relation between the grid order and the championship standings. So as we're saying, the big guns really showing their speed now and trying to get up towards the front. Here's your grid though for the next race, round 7 of the season. Caruana, Gilbert on that front row with Moore, Carroll, the other drivers inside a 10th of a second. Moreno and Tolashi, that's a bit better for TC Esports on the 3rd row. Brown and Chadwick will be on the 4th with Jupp and Espes inside your top 10. Janae and Herman will be inside the top 12. All of these drivers just about 3/10 off. Such a close qualifying session. Baldy and Corey Lane inside your top 14 with Murdoch and Smith. Then we've got Kirkapau and Connor Muir inside the top 18. And of course, a lot of drivers on this grid today. Harding, Perez, Heron and Hull. Then we have Stone and Strabel inside your top 24. And then we've got Tegi, we've got Wembley, Matthews, Shintani, Jasir, McAuliffe at the back. Obviously, all these drivers who at times have the exclusion for qualifying penalty. Then Hayward and Pasquale are at the back of the field as we get onto the grid for today's race here at Oulton Park, round 7 of the season. We are going to be halfway through the championship at the end of this evening. There's no drop rounds, so the points are going to matter. Henry Moore is going to be suffering after that retirement last time. He's 18 points off Matt Caruana. He's sitting behind him on the grid, and Ewan is going to be a big fight for these drivers.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think for those front guys as well, we'll see very early on, I feel, whether it's going to be easy to overtake round here or easier than it normally is at Oulton Park because of the speed of these cars, or whether it could be very, very difficult indeed. I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit like the Formula 4 race we've just seen, But that feels unlikely. Let's see.
20 minutes on the clock. Matt Carolina, championship leader, is going to be taking us away from that pole position, and he goes already to the right-hand side to try and cover off from Remy Gilbert in that second place. We're single file down in towards the first corner. That's going to keep it very nice and clean, but is there going to be any moves in further behind? Up towards Dentons and Cascades. This is where some big sends can be had, and this is where some issues potentially for some drivers, but no, they get through cleanly, at least the first part of the field. Leo Brown sitting there in 7th place, can't get past Tolashi. He's going to try and work his way around the outside though, as we work our way up towards the island bend, backs out of that one as Graham Carroll has to defend from Moreno.
Carroll was actually having to go at more, I think. There's a bit of both, probably. Attack and defence at the same time, but he didn't lose a place or gain one through turn 5, so stays in 4th position for the moment. Another very single file start, much like what we saw in the opening race of the Formula Fords as well. It is single file off the start, helping the field get through cleanly as Carroll now goes on the attack from Henry Moore. He feels the need to defend into Hislops. Didn't need to at the end, I don't think. Carroll can't get through.
And of course, Carroll's fighting for points for, Scuderia Ferrari, but he is not fighting for the Drivers' Championship, and therefore he can kind of go for it a little bit. This is his old rival from last season that went down to the final couple of races between these two. Round the outside for Jewett, for the number 1 machine, trying to prove why he's got that on his car, despite not doing a full-time drive this season. But Danny Moreno is seeing that as an open opportunity to dive down the inside in towards Lodge. Carroll has to defend that one, come to the inside. Leo Brown in the background, though, finally dives it down the inside of Tolashi and might be able to make it stick as we work our way up the start-finish straight. He's side by side in towards the first corner. The 33s used to being fighting up towards the podiums. A little bit disappointing qualifying, but he's already got 1 place back.
Well, absolutely. There goes through turn 1, Brown and Tolashi really close to one another. And Tolashi's looking for, again, half attack, half defence from Will Chadwick, who's just in behind him at the moment. Through turn 3, Chadwick is going to try and get into the inside at 4, maybe. But I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. A look, and maybe a move. No, Tolashi has to give the room anyway, but can't manage it. Again, it seems like it is a little bit more difficult to overtake than it was in the Formula Fords, but by no means impossible, not just yet anyway.
Yeah, they might be Formula 4s, there's 3 formulas above them, let's say, but they are so super fast, a lot of downforce, and for a little track like this, there's a lot going on out there. Here we are, high by EMM. Chadwick in the number 88 as he works his way down in towards Hislops. He's probably the fastest, most unlucky driver in this championship over the last couple of years. I believe he won this race on the road and then lost it in terms of a penalty last year as well, and got taken out after a big incident back at Snetterton as well, after being in a good position batting up towards the front. He has the pace. Let's see what he can do today. 17 minutes remain in this, and he's just a little bit off as he is. Genet dropping down the 188 car, and he's losing so many places. He must have gone off towards Jewett or somewhere like that, out of one of the chicanes. But unfortunately, he's dropping down and he's going to be at the back of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. As Caruana, Gilbert continue to stretch their lead. Gilbert continues to apply the pressure indeed, but how likely is it he's actually going to be able to make an overtake over Matt Caruana? That could be the key here, because the championship leader, the current championship leader, is currently leading this race as well. And that will be of concern to Gilbert. There's some physical battling there, and with 3 wide coming off of turn 3, back in the pack.
Yeah, that's one of the Archie cars at 31 with 3 wide almost in towards Island Bend. That is not what you want to see at all. That was Joe Hull. He's got Perez trying to go around the outside. In the background, we've got Connor Muir as well. And then Shintani is the blue machine on his outside. So that, Shintani's still there. Up in towards Britons. Who is going to back out? It looks like he's not going to be the Japanese driver. They go over the curves. Shintani finally has to back out. He's got a teammate, his sister teammate there, coming around the outside. That is Beckham Jasir from his exclusion from qualifying penalty, as he will try and get his teammate there, and he certainly does, as there's Ollie Stone as well. He's still got the boxes in the background, by the way. He's had them there on the webcam from last season as well. Definitely packed up and ready to go when he is ready. Jasir around the outside up through Watertown. That is going to be a big move on Connor Muir if he can make it stick. Up the inside, backs out of that one though, because this is not really a place to make an overtake.
Well, you might have to take the chances that when they're presented to you around here, to be honest. Depends just what a situation you get yourself into here, as there's a look there, but obviously no move into the final corner this time round. Gilbert gets very close to Caruana, closest he's been, I would say, towards turn one. Henry Moore this time round, setting the fastest lap of the race. The three of them breaking away from Graham Carroll, and indeed everybody else in this field as well. I'll reiterate what I've been saying for the last 2 weeks now. These three are the ones to fight for the Drivers' Championship. Nothing to separate them at the moment.
Yeah, that is such a close battle. And we saw earlier Henry Moore battling with Graham Carroll, but he's pulled away and he's now on the back of his teammate. Top three in the championship, in championship order as well. Carroll not able to hold on. It's only going to be a 3-car breakaway, I believe, as it stands. Carroll's certainly not forgotten how to drive, but maybe just a little bit out of touch in terms of this car on this track after not doing the first couple of rounds this season. Let's see how he can manage the tyres over the course of the race. Henry Moore's looking very, very calm and collected at this point in the race, and I think they're going to be quite aggressive at some point. They've got the two-man advantage as well. It's 2v1. This is both for the drivers and the constructors title, and of course the constructors is where they get the prize money as well. So that is going to be the important factor for the team, trying to get that, and of course the obviously all the prizes that come with it. A little bit of a mistake there from Moore, but doesn't lose any time.
Fiddling with the left-hand side of his headset for some reason. Not entirely sure why he's doing that at the moment, especially on so close to the exit of a corner there. But anyway, hopefully that's all fine. And he's just talking to his teammate Remy Gilbert about their plan of attack here on Matt Caruana. You'd imagine it will come at some point, so there's quite a long way to go in this race, 13.5 minutes, so it doesn't have to be urgent, but they can't follow him all the way through like this, right the way to the end of the race, and hope that the reverse grid race is going to be where they gain their points back again. That would be a silly thing to rely on, I feel. Got to see what you can do in this race, but as I say, there's no urgency just yet.
And Carroll's actually catching up, so I thought they were going to pull away from him, but Carroll's kept inside the slipstream and he's just closing in, hundredth of a second at a time, and it is going to be a 4-car battle, and even Moreno and Leo Brown are going to be there, aren't they, in a few laps time. So we are going to be back into one long train to get to the mid part of this race, and let's see what comes up from this. Matt Caruana, by the way, what an improvement from this driver over the last couple of years as well. This very track had a certain incident and has just since then served his penalty and then came back with flying colours. Was so fast last season, and then of course is leading the championship overall after the first 3 rounds of this season. So this is the turnaround that we want to see. This is the improvement that we want to see from these drivers, and now he's fighting for a championship with 2 of the fastest drivers out.
Yeah, absolutely. As I've always thought, actually, he's a very strong driver, actually, Matt Caruana. We've seen him in plenty of events in the past, and especially MS UK as well. He's a very strong driver, so not surprised, as I say, to see him up towards the front. He's got 6 wins currently in this championship, by the way. Only 1 behind Henry Moore and 2 behind Luke McEwen, who have got 2 of the most in this series. We're looking to take number 7 here tonight if he can, and to be honest, he's looking good value for this race lead at the moment. Although he's under a lot of pressure from Gilbert and Moore, they've shown absolutely no signs of passing him, which is the key.
Yeah, is that because they're not able to, or because they don't want to? That's the important factor. I think you're right, it's a little bit more tricky than the Formula Ford 1600s to get by, but I do think that Gilbert is just biding his time. But look at the train of cars behind him. Look at the train of cars. Moreno and Brown, they're basically there. Carroll already is there and just needs to find his opportunity to try and get past, really, and that is going to be the next strategic point. These races, they may be 20-minute sprint races, but there's enough time that you can have a little bit of play, a little bit of to work around the issues. And the first one that Carroll needs to do is to try and get past Henry Moore. He tried it a couple of laps ago, but wasn't able to make it work.
Nope, not for the moment. Still going to be probing though here. They all are as they run in this group. It's absolute stalemate at the moment for the top 9 who are all counted as involved in this. At least there are no gaps more than a second in this top 9, but you can tell that the pace at the front is getting a little bit slower because of the way that it's bunching up a little bit there. Carroll being able to catch up. Wouldn't be surprised if Danny Moreno gets properly close to Graham Carroll in a moment as well. And that is a sign that the pace at the very front from Matt Caruana is diminishing slightly. So it's an important question you raise about whether they're biding their time, Gilbert and Moore. Can't overtake or won't overtake is a key thing for now.
I definitely think this is going to explode at one point. They're not going to sit there, and we're already halfway through this race. So they are definitely at that point where they're going to be getting a little bit impatient. We're already seeing Graham Carroll there. He's getting close. His teammate Gergo Baldy is trying to make some moves in the background as well, as he has his battle. He's got Herman obviously just up ahead of him. E. Smith as well, who's dropped down from a solid qualifying, unfortunately. But here's Smith in the 2-1-4 machine, as we have Aston Martin versus Ferrari versus BS competition at this point of the race. Baldy having a bit of a look to the inside, trying to make a mistake from the driver ahead, but not happening just yet.
No, not for the moment. Maybe it's a story being repeated up and down the field at the moment. We've been focusing on these leaders, but even through the midfield and towards the back, it's looking pretty difficult at the moment. Even when you're less than a tenth and a half behind, Gilbert is here. Caruana finally now, though, feels the need to defend. Into the final turn with 9 minutes to go. This is going to bunch up the field even more. Danny Moreno and Leo Brown are now in this group at the same distance, and here comes Gilbert for the lead.
Around the outside, it's going to be, maybe this is go time. 9 minutes to go, just over halfway of this race. Tries to get the up and under, get the momentum. This might not be the overtaking opportunity, but it might slow Caruana down as we work away onto the Lakeside Straight. And now through Cascades, actually Caruana's positioned his car absolutely perfectly there. Down this back straight, it's long enough for a slipstream. Is it long enough for an overtake though? Through Island Bend, not enough. Caruana putting his car in the perfect place to hold on for now. The issue is for Gilbert is that he's got more in behind who's under pressure from Carroll, and at some point he might need to open up some space. But this is a full-on train now with Moreno and Brown. Top 6. It's going to be 7, it's going to be 8 cars when Tolashi and Chadwick get there. This is going to explode at one point. Someone's going to go for a move, make a bit of a mistake, open up a door, open up an opportunity, but not yet.
And the reason why it is pretty always definitely going to happen at some point is because Remy Gilbert has got that bit of insurance policy there of his teammate being right behind him. Normally when you're in this group, even if you're in second, you fear losing all of those places in one go, attempting to make the move for the lead. So it does rather put you off actually trying. But with your teammate right there, he's got the absolute sort of confidence that he will not go all the way down the train if he tries to make a move. Obviously a crash with Caruana would change that, but he's in control of that. It's very much a case here of, you know, do whatever lines you want to, try however you want to, because at the moment if you're Henry Moore, you're going to reassure your teammate that he's not going to overtake him. And if anything, Moore will be willing Gilbert on because he'll be hoping that allows him to get past Caruana as well.
Indeed, and this is really getting so tight between these cars now. We're seeing, yeah, what's that, 6 cars in a row, 8 cars if you involve the next 2, and they're getting close. They're getting so close. 7 minutes to go. I want to see someone have a big send down the inside. They're being too nice and too polite at this moment. They're waiting for a mistake from another driver, but the level is so high that basically that's not going to happen really, or very unlikely. So we have to wait and see what is going to happen with someone making a move, someone being proactive as we work our way down the back straight. Once more, championship order for the top 3. Graham Carroll, you know, having a guest appearance, getting himself involved. Moreno, he's 5th in the championship, 5th position. Is Leo Brown the one who's losing the points and needs to try and work his way up? But it's so difficult. Look how much he's pressing as he goes through Knickerbrook.
Yeah. It's what you've got to do at this circuit. You've just got to keep pushing on, keep pressing as much as you can, and hope that an opportunity might well present itself. Gilbert may start. I'm not sure he'll be entering his thoughts just yet, but centering mine, whether he's seen that best opportunity already passing by there when Caruana went on the defensive through the final turn, and Gilbert had a chance here as they were side by side across the start-finish line. Was that his only chance, or is he going to get another one here? There's certainly, it's not all out action this race, there's not much doubt about that, but you know, there's a lot of tension at the front of this group, that's for sure.
And the reason why is because they are all basically identical on lap times. There's nowhere for them to go. The top 5 doing within half a tenth of a second the exact same lap times. The consistency and the lack of mistakes from these guys is just incredible. The level of driving that we're seeing here for them to be able to do this. If there was a complete mismatch in talent, we'd be seeing drivers drop off the back of this train and make mistakes, go wide, but they are just on the racing line doing qualifying laps every single lap time. We are literally about 3 or 4 tenths off the qualifying times, so that is the speed that we are going at this moment in time. Danny Moreno there in the 26 for TC Sports, having a look, trying to find how he's going to go through there. He's concentrating very hard as he works his way through the chicane, trying to nail every single apex. But once again, it is perfect lines from the 4 cars ahead.
I'm just not sure what he can do at this in this part of the field, to be honest. He's going to find it very, very difficult to really get involved, but he does need to if he's going to make a charge back to those front guys again. He's currently 58 points away from the championship lead, the Drivers' Championship lead, that is, and 5th place with all, well, 3 of the 4 ahead of him. Finishing ahead is not ideal. There's Will Chadwick looking down the inside of Torlashi. He's giving up any hopes of staying with the front group, and why wouldn't you if you're in 8th? You're not particularly worried about that. You're worried about 7th position, and that's why he went for that move into the final corner there, but it was unsuccessful this time.
Oh, he goes wide there through Old Hall. He wants Torlashi to get on the back of Brown. The issue is he's about 2nd behind, so he's not really in that top 6 battle. It's 6 cars and then 2 cars. That they want to be all 8 up there towards the front, and then Chadwick can look to make a move, but before that he might as well sit in behind and try and push his way forward. The issue is Torlashi maybe doesn't quite have the pace of that top 6 as it stands. 4 minutes remain in this session, and the quality of driving that we're seeing out towards the front is absolutely remarkable. Not a single mistake being made from these top 6, top 8 drivers so far in this first opening part of the race. So close to the barriers they go, but everyone keeping it on the track. Matt Carana, he's holding on to the pressure in behind, and we're seeing the 77. That's Henry Moore going defensive. He feels like he's got to defend from Carroll as it's just a few laps to go.
Yeah, that's going to be good news for Gilbert in one sense, that Moore is going to be doing the defending and effectively the rear gunner work for him there, but he's got to try and drive home that advantage now that he's got that bit of freedom that he's got to try and overtake Matt Caruana and make a better attempt at taking this race lead. Carroll wants to get on the podium here, and he's got a good run out of Druitt as well. I'm not sure he's very interested in making the move. He was barely concentrating down the straight, but here he comes into the final corner, making the one for 3rd place. Super close, can't quite do it though.
I love that from Carroll, who's to the left-hand side of the track, more half defended. So it's like, okay, I'll just send it down the inside fully. That has opened up a door for the top 2, and also a door for and some position for Carroll to send a dive into. The issue is when everyone's bumper to bumper, there's not actually physically space for you to dive down the inside because you're going to hit the next car up ahead in the train. About 2.5 minutes to go now. Is Gilbert going to make a move? Oh, a bit of a wiggle there in the background from Torlashi. He saves it, gathers it up, but that's losing more time. So Chadwick won't be a factor in this top 6 battle either as we come in towards the final couple of laps of the race. It looks like Moore's caught up that battle already with the slipstream and Remy Gilbert there. I mean, he never looks phased, to be honest, during the race, but he certainly does look very comfortable at this moment in time. Maybe just accepting the fact it's going to be a difficult move if there is one.
No, it always looks like his TV monitor's too high and he's looking upwards. But anyway, it's just his style. I'm not taking the mic. He's trying to overtake Matt Caruana for the moment and has been probing, but my goodness, it looks difficult at the moment when you've got somebody as quick as Caruana out front. You can see in his face, you know, where am I going to actually make this move? Is it going to have to come down to the final lap and the final corner, and how much is he willing to risk in trying to make this work? I mean, he's been super close time and again. Is there going to be one chance? Caruana's slightly wider than he needs to be there through Druitt, and he does feel the need to defend. Here comes Gilbert, left and right. He can't make it down the inside. He'll have to be outside. Does he get the space there? He will just about. There's loads of gravel on the circuit, though. That wasn't helpful, and he now loses momentum.
Certainly does. Final lap time comes out, and this makes you wonder how the reverse grid is going to go, because surely pace difference at that point. Big set down the inside from Carroll though. Henry Moore, side by side they go. Moore's off the track, cuts in just, makes a tiny bit of contact with the front wing of the Ferrari, but Carroll is not going to give this one up, is he? He's going to do the up and under, get the momentum down this back straight, but is there going to be a move? We haven't seen any so far inside the top 6, top 8 even, since that first lap, but is there going to finally be a move on the final one? It's getting close down towards Shell Oils. Big send time, but none being made.
Yeah, not this time. Moore has just got to focus on keeping third. Forget about first or second. Unless they crash, he's not going to win this race. So all he can do now is focus on defending from Graham Carroll. Not into the first chicane. Carroll on slightly wide though. Has Gilbert got the run? He's not that far away. Can he at least force him to defend into this final chicane?
He's got to go for it if he wants to get those points. Of course, there's that extra points gap as well for a win to second place. So this is even more important. Fastest lap at the moment going to Henry Moore. That's an extra point for him. But Caruana, I cannot stress this enough. The pressure that he's under, and he's putting the car where he needs to, has not made a single mistake up towards the front. This is incredible driving from the number 15. As in the background, Moore is defending for his life from Graham Carroll, who's trying to get the run, try and lose some momentum. In towards the final corner though. Is there going to be one final move? It's a big defensive line from Caruana. He slightly chops off Gilbert there. So what positioning race here from Caruana, who's going to come across the line, and he's going to take the victory here. The first race of the evening for the British F4 Esports Championship. Third place is going to go to Henry Moore. He holds on to Graham Carroll in the end, but in behind Moreno, Brown, Tolashi, Chadwick, they all have to remain in their positions as they were from the start of the race. But what a tense bit of action out there as all the other drivers come across the line, and Matt Caruana, the championship leader, takes victory in that number 15. It was certainly not a side-by-side race, but just showing you the level of competition that we have here. They're just on the exact same pace. So difficult to make an overtake.
Yeah, it really is. And again, that circuit as well, the Oulton Park circuit, not helping that situation in terms of overtaking as well, does make it a little bit easier, unfortunately for us, when we would have liked to see a bit of a race-leading battle. However, we will get one in race 2 because there's a big reverse grid. It's going to be as big as the top 10 as well.
That is incredible. I can't wait to see these top 10 drivers. So Connor Jupp will be leading, but all these fast drivers are going to be in behind, trying to find and push their way to the front. After 13 laps, Henry Moore got the fastest lap, but it's Matt Caruana for Hymo setups by EMM who got the victories. The two Bennett boys, Gilbert and Moore, in behind. And then we have the Scuderia Ferrari, Graham Carroll on his reserve drive appearance in 4th place. Moreno will be in 5th, Leo Brown, Tolashi, Chadwick, the top 8 there who never really were able to make any moves. Then Espes and Jupp, the top 10, who will be reverse grid pole. Murdoch and Herman, the two BS boys, just outside the top 10, with Smith, Bowdy, Genet, who had a few issues but managed to get there in P15 in the end. Heron, Harding, Jasir, Shintani and McAuliffe from the back up into P20. Final drivers on the lead lap were Stone, Matthews, Di Pasquale, Hull, and then Perez. And then some drivers having some issues. We've got Tagi, we've got Wembley, Muir, Hayward, and Kirkpaw in your top 30. And then, of course, a few drivers at the back of the field having some further issues with Elaine and Strabel. But, of course, we will get a word with some of these drivers and try and find out their thoughts from this opening race of the evening. First of all, we'll bring in Matt Caruana, the number 15 machine, getting victory tonight. That is certainly an important one for the championship. The top 3 there were also in championship order, so that's some really nice points gained. Just how did you hold on to that pressure?
Yeah, well, obviously it's a good track to be in the lead for, so quite good to get the quali lap that I did. And from there, I'm just on the white line the whole race pretty much, defending, and the only place really is the last corner, so it's going to be a lot more difficult now in race 2, but just going to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, it was certainly very difficult. Obviously, as you're saying, qualifying is very important. Take us back to that qualifying session. Would you say you absolutely nailed that lap because it was so close between you and the other drivers?
I won't say it was nailed, but the chicane was definitely what got the lap for me. I did a good first chicane, and then the rest of the lap was pretty good as well, just maybe a few sectors, so yeah. Absolutely.
And then working towards the next race, unfortunately it's reverse 10 positions. So you're going to have Connor Jupp leading the way. You're going to have there's basically a train of 8 cars there at the front. You're going to be all flipped. Then you're going to have Jupp and your Ezpez on that front row. What do you think you can do? Because if it was the same as what we saw this race, not many overtakes to be had.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I can just finish where I start, then that'll probably be good. I've got a decent lead now, so as long as I don't shunt, get killed or anything like that, I'll be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And how are you enjoying this track overall in terms of the actual driving, as much as it's difficult to overtake? It is a great fun track to drive this F4 car around. Yeah,
no, it is really good. The chicanes are quite fun to just like absolutely jump over, but yeah, no, I'm enjoying it with the new scan and everything, and yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. So yeah, good luck for race number 2.
Cheers, thank you.
And then we will bring in Remy Gilbert's second place finish, of course, second on the grid as well. So in terms of, on paper, not necessarily the most exciting race for you. However, Remy, you put everything to try and get that move. Do you think it was there somewhere, that overtake on Matt?
Wow. I mean, it's pretty difficult to overtake around here. I think the only sort of move that is possible to work is at the last corner. But yeah, Matt defended pretty well the inside there every time, so I couldn't really go for a lunge. But yeah, second, still decent points for the championship. I think it's just for the second race, it's just going to be trying to stay out of trouble with the reverse grid. So yeah.
It's certainly a tough one around here, but your pace and obviously your teammates' pace as well, Henry, looking very good once again. So I guess you could say you had good prep for this race then. Yeah.
I mean, although I qualified second, I mean, I did it on lap 1, so there was still a lot of time in it. So I mean, it should have been pole, but yeah, I mean, a lot of prep goes into these races with me, Henry, Leo, and Kieran putting all the work in. So yeah, I think our results over the season have sort of shown that progress and time on the sim.
Absolutely. And do you think there's anything you can do to get a podium, or are you just going to be taking it nice and calm? You're going to be in 9th position on the grid with some fast drivers ahead of you.
Well, podium maybe. I hope so, but yeah, I think first few laps try and stay away from damage or don't go for any risky maneuvers. But yeah, I think it's going to be a case of just trying to stay out of trouble and just pick people off one by one, just wait for things to happen in front. But I've got Henry in front of me to work with, so let's just see how we do.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, good luck for the second race, and maybe we'll speak to you again.
Cheers.
And then lastly, we will bring in Henry Moore, who, of course, had an unfortunate retirement back at Snetterton, but your comeback swinging, a good performance in qualifying in 3rd place, but Henry, just not much you could do there in terms of your teammate ahead. It was more so focusing on not being overtaken by Graham in behind. Just how was it having your old rival back next to you?
Yeah, no, it was all right. I wouldn't necessarily say my performance in quali was good. I lost quite a bit through the first chicane, I think about 2.5 tenths, so yeah, not ideal. Would have been a nice lap. But yeah, just helping Remy, giving him a bit of space to try and go for Matt for the lead, and yeah, it didn't really work out. There's not too many overtaking places here, and when you got no drop rounds in the championship, you can't take too many risks. So yeah, I think it's still a good job, 2nd and 3rd.
And what are your thoughts on how this second race is going to go? There's a lot of fast guys around you and some important points. To be honest, we're halfway through the championship now. So are you going to take any risk at all?
I think we'll have to wait and see what happens, really. These new curbs at this track are pretty deadly, so you can't really go too wide anywhere, really. Otherwise, you'll just bottom out and either spin or literally go nowhere. So yeah, will be interesting. Should be good to watch for everyone watching and you guys commentating on it. So yeah, we'll see.
All right, well, good luck. We see you're practicing already. So yeah, enjoy the final few laps, and then we'll see you on the grid in a few moments' time.
Thank you very much, guys. See you soon.
All right, and then we will go back to some analysis of that first race, Ewan, because there wasn't much in the way of overtake, but we did see Graham Carroll trying to get a little bit involved in that battle with Henry Moore. Wasn't quite able to do so. So do you think there's going to be any difference, though, now that we have a bit of a reverse grid? I feel like when they're in qualifying order, the driver head still has that, couple of hundredths there in terms of pace potentially, whereas now they're reversed, they're going to be bunching up a little bit more and maybe some opportunities come.
Yeah, or at least it's close enough between the two to sort of, keep them single file as they were. Pretty much all of them they're saying they could have got more out of qualifying, which is how these sessions go, isn't it? That's why we limit the laps to the short session that we have, because it does shake up the grid a little bit, but when you are that close, it's very hard to overtake once you're in that position that they were. I do think this second race will be different, though. I think you're right. I mean, not only the difference actually in terms of speed being slightly bigger, which will help, but also the need to overtake as well. I feel like you are sort of almost pushed on mentally by the fact that, Gilbert's, for example, going to start 9th in this second race. In the first one was 2nd, and in the back of your mind, and it's not the forefront, but certainly in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, 2nd's still all right, even though I'm finishing behind the championship leader. It's still fine to finish in 2nd place, but 9th won't do as far as the finishing position goes, and you're trying to win this championship. So that will certainly be in the back of his mind as well. And when one bit of side-by-side starts to happen, especially at the front, it does actually sort of act as a catalyst to get everything else moving as well. We just never really got that in the first race, which was a bit of a problem for us. Never really got that initial side-by-side, which sort of creates everything else. So this second race should have that at least.
Yeah, the drivers, we saw Moore and Carroll get a little bit side-by-side. Times we saw Caroline and Gilbert as well, but they never went, as you say, that full side-by-side. But what it does leave us is approximately about 19 points is the lead for Caruana in the standings. So he is looking very nice at this point. But then the important one for Henry Moore is he's now 28 points behind Caruana. So he really does need to get some points. He's got that retirement, no drop rounds, as he was mentioning. So he's got to get those points back on the road. And if you still finish behind Caruana 2 races in a row tonight, is a net loss. And at the end of the day, it may not be a successful evening for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially after that first race, now the target for anybody who's hoping to win this championship has got to be to beat Caruana. Now, with a race 1 victory, it's very hard to sort of overturn that in terms of a points deficit that you have now got, because that's already set in stone now. He's already going to gain those points. But you can at least alleviate that, at least sort of write this round off and say, we're even after this round by beating him in this one, and go forward into the second half of the season with not too big of a gap, because even after that win, Caruana doesn't even hold more than 20 points over Remy Gilbert at the moment. So it's far from a big lead.
Yeah, I'm worried a little bit about Leo Brown, because he's now about 51 points off. He's only had 2 podiums this season, whereas, for instance, Gilbert, he's had 5 out of 7 races. Caruana is the same, 5 out of 7 races, and more as well. They're all on 5 podiums. Just 2 for Leo Brown. He's dropping off a little bit, and for the Driveland Racing, yeah, definitely he needs to improve a little bit if he wants to be really fighting for this championship, like we know he wants to.
Yeah, I think consistency is all well and good, but when your rivals drivers are actually consistent and ahead of you quite often, it's very difficult to overcome. So he's not all lost by any means. We've seen this championship in years gone past won by more than 50 odd points, so it's very possible he could win that back, although of course on those years you have a whole 8 rounds to gain those points. At the moment, at the end of this one, only 4 more to go, because this season is done by the end of November, which is not that far away now. So they've got to get on with gaining points. Whoever is going to be attempting to do that over the course of the next few weeks, got to get on with it, because otherwise you're going to see that gap get too large by the final races, and then you'll be in the situation where so-and-so needs to only finish in whatever to finish ahead of me, even if I win all the races from now, which is a place you don't want to be in, and it can often creep up on you quicker than you think. So you've got to keep those points gaps in check. But I think the one I'd be really interested in watching here is the gap with Henry Moore in this one. Henry's got to gain some points again in this round, because 28 is getting a little bit on the large side for a deficit now at the halfway point in the season.
Certainly, and as you're saying, halfway point after this race coming up tonight will be halfway. We've had Donington, Thruxton, Snetterton and Oulton. Then we go to Silverstone, Knockhill, Zandvoort and Brands Hatch for the final 4 races. Silverstone in a week's time. We then have a week break, and then we have 3 weeks back to back. So basically in about 5 weeks or so, that's it. Season is over. It's going to be a very fast turnaround, and you have to be really on it. So you have to have your your practice up to scratch as well, and make sure that you're having the pace that you want. A minute to go in the warm-up session between the two races. Not like the drivers aren't warmed up, but just that they can get used to these slightly different conditions. We saw a bit earlier the graphic come up. We are simulating the 22nd of June, so a nice summer's day out there. No rain by the look of it, just the sun and no clouds in the sky as we work our way through this part. This corner, Ewan, actually, Cascade seems to be causing a couple of issues here and there. I just wonder if all of the drivers will get through in single file like they have done in the previous race.
Yeah, I do wonder about that as well. I think it's unlikely in the second race because, well, maybe it is. I mean, there's two schools of thoughts on that. Again, looking at the previous series, the Formula Fords didn't do it in the second race, whereas they did in the first. Because there's more opportunities to make up and a big chance to win a race for somebody who's near that top 10 but not actually on the pole in this second race. But also they didn't actually change around very much in terms of positions in race number 1, so actually there's not any of those big name drivers who actually towards the back end of the top 10 who will really feel, if I make up these couple of places really early in this race, I can definitely win this. So it's different in that sense as well. We'll wait and see how they deal with it. But I've got to say, I used to live in this part of the world. It didn't look like this very often when I was there. So enjoy the conditions while we've got them. 38 degrees is quite warm. It shouldn't be a problem in 20 minutes, thankfully, for these tyres.
There's only, well, I just hope you didn't leave because of the weather, though. But not much choice in that part of the world, as you say. Grid is being set, and we are getting ready to go for round 8 of the season. Connor Jupp, Espes will be on the front row. Chadwick, Tolashi, Brown and Moreno will be your front 3 as we get to the start of the second race of the evening. Graham Carroll, Henry Moore, Gilbert and Caruana, they're your reverse grid drivers. Then we have Murdoch and Herman inside the top 12. Smith, Baldy, Genet, Heron, Harding and Jasir, your top 18. And of course, a lot of drivers on this grid. Shintani, McAuliffe, Stone, Matthews, Di Pasquale and Hull, your top 12 rows of the grid. Perez, Tage, Wembley, Muir, Hayward, Kirkpau, your top 30. And then the final few drivers of Elaine and Strabel starting at the back. 20 minutes on the clock, and we have some different drivers at the front. We've got Connor Jupp, the 35. We've got Espes in the 17. It's Alpine and Williams on the front row, and it's a great start from the 35, but everyone gets away single file once more. And actually, Leo Brown is going to be getting a very nice start in the background there in 5th place. It is Chadwick in 3rd place as we work our way through the first couple of corners. Once again, everyone single file looking nice. Any big sends though down in towards Cascade. It's going to be the 88 of Chadwick trying to get his front wing up the inside and goes side by side down the back straight.
Yeah, he's into big danger now, though, Chadwick. You can see why he wants to gain places early as there's trouble very far back in the pack. It's Beckham Jasir, one of them, I think, who's gone off, but Chadwick in big trouble now. Here comes Tolashi on the inside through turn 5. It could be a freight train with Leo Brown next waiting in line. Is he going to let him get in? He just about, well, he has to let him get in as Chadwick looks to respond into the next chicane. No, he'll back out of it, so only one place lost in the end.
It was Di Pasquale for Red Bull, who was the driver off. I think it was on the exit off Cascades. Up towards the front, though, as you say, Chadwick, he went for the move for second, but he's down into 4th place. We've got Moreno and Carroll going side by side. Moreno is just going to be on top of that battle in P6. So Carroll and Moore as well in behind. We look at the exit through Nick. Oh, big contact is made. That's a car being sent off to the left-hand side. There's Beckham Jasir, who's not having the day that he would have wanted, with Ryan McAuliffe involved in that one as well. That is big unfortunate contact because there was small contact, but a big crash to end that one.
Don't forget, McAuliffe got a qualifying ban at the start of today, so can't really afford big trouble like that to be his fault. He'll be hoping that the stewards adjust that not to be his fault, otherwise he'll be landing himself in pretty big trouble again here, you would imagine, as the drivers come across the line for the first time. The top 10 are intact at least, with only one change for 3rd place between Tolashi and Chadwick, but Caruana and Gilbert were getting quite close to one another through turn 1 there. Gilbert defending from Caruana, who indeed has got alongside him on the way down the hill through Cascades. And wait for them at the bottom. There they are. And Caruana's going to get through. Oh, no, he's not. Sorry. Gilbert gets back through again. And here comes Will Murdoch, meantime, on the inside. Off by Caruana. Really close with the championship leader who's off in the grass. Oh, my word, he just gets away with it. That was so close to a big one there for Matt Caruana.
What a save. That could have been championship lead gone by the end of this race if he would have been that one. But big save. And this is the issue with the reverse grid. You get some other drivers not involved in the championship and they have absolutely free reign to go for it. And Caruana is still in that P10 of the reverse grid. So he needs to get as forward as he can. Otherwise he's got Murdoch, Smith, Herman, other drivers in behind trying to get that position off him because they see an opportunity to get some points tonight as well. We've got Jupp and Espes still leading at the front though, the same as they started, but it is Chadwick who's dropped a position. Tolashi up into third. TC Sports looking a lot stronger this round than they did back at Snetterton, and surely some moves will be done in this race when we have a slightly different order to what we had in that first race where we got the faster drivers pushing to the front.
Yeah, we certainly will. But how far are they going to be able to get? Because so far, pretty much no progress has been made by a lot of these guys, because don't forget, the qualifying order didn't change very much in the race 1 finish order, and therefore the gaps between the actual battles themselves are quite small again. So even though this is between 6th and 7th now, it's just the same gap as it was in qualifying between Moreno and Carroll, who are still evenly matched enough for this not to be a fight at the moment. While Caruana versus Connor Jupp might be a different story, it's a long time since we get to those sorts of differences in terms of actual speed, so this could go on for quite a while again until we get that one moment that sets it all off.
And look, they're always pushing each other. This is bunched up that little bit more because there's a slight pace difference. Oh, Brown is going off to the left-hand side. That's going to allow Moreno to come through. That is the first move. Big set up the inside for Brown as he tries to regain the position, but no. So that is the first one done. And let's see if there's going to be any sort of repercussions from this. Everyone is stacked up in behind the number 26 as we come down the hill. Carroll's trying to make some moves as well. We've got Henry Moore trying to go around the outside of Carroll for a minute there. This is getting a little bit awkward as now, big contact is made. Carroll makes contact. That's Leo Brown being pushed off, and that is definitely going to be a championship gone if he's not able to hold on to it, but he does, but 4 cars get through.
Yeah, and again, it's now set off a whole load of side-by-side. I believe the teammates even are side-by-side here briefly as Caruana tries to capitalise on this by overtaking Gilbert at the same time. He's not going to manage that, although Gilbert has to defend again. He's weaving around here more, not sure why, as he's giving the slipstream to Caruana right now. He's on the outside, Caruana not going to get through, but he go for the cutback instead. He had to do so much defending in race 1. He's on the attack in race 2. He can't get through there, though. He's sort of looking again left and right as there's pit stops in the background. It's all kicked off here. I would like to see that incident between Brown and Carroll, and we will in a moment, because from the first angle we saw, we'll see another angle in a moment, but from the first angle, I think Carroll just almost ran Leo Brown over, and I think Brown was the one, yeah, he did have to go into pit lane there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's going to be big damage. So the 33 definitely out of title contention now. He's already dropped back 50 points and he's going to lose quite a few more today, unless there's a big crash here on the screen with this battle that we are seeing. So we're seeing Connor Jupp still lead, but it's the drivers behind that are starting to get a little bit close. Moreno making a move, opened up the opportunity for Carroll to also have a look at Brown 1 lap ago, but it ended in tears. And yet, that's Carroll didn't really, or shouldn't really have been up the inside Knickerbock there. It is a one-line corner, but he had the momentum, couldn't back out of it, and it wasn't the biggest contact, but Brown obviously choosing to come down pit road.
I think there was space for him, but he just didn't use it really on the right-hand side. I know that would have tightened his angle even further, and maybe that would have just delayed the crash to later on in the corner, but I think there was space there for the inside, but just misjudged that, seemed to run him over. And, you know, it's hard to know what to do with a driver who's not really involved in the championship, and certainly isn't going to be a factor in the championship this season, despite the fact he's got reigning champion status, of course, after he beat Henry Moore and Remy Gilbert and Matt Caruana and Leo Brown to the title last season. And they were all there, but I wonder what you do about him, really, because yeah, he certainly ran over a championship contender there, and any championship points taken away, however, is not going to really affect him, as Chadwick and Espes went side by side there. Chadwick third, and Caruana still looking for moves here himself as well.
Yes, so Espes, who's dropped down 2 places. Tolashi and Chadwick have got him on the recent lap, and that just shows you how quickly it can change. And now some space has opened up, which is an important factor in some of these battles. But let's see how quickly they want to go side by side. Up ahead, Espes loses another place. Moreno goes past him in towards Shell Oils. So that is very important. Espes now losing 3 places. Moreno, slowly but surely, TC Sports as well, Tolashi working their way to the front. I'll just take myself off mute.
They definitely need to gain some points on Team Benix. in the team's championship standings. So this is the kind of day that TC Esports absolutely need. 209 points behind Benix at the moment. It's a long, long way, but they're both in front at the moment to second and fourth, while Moore and Gilbert are barely hanging on to seventh and eighth. Caruana is looking very, very strong at the moment, I've got to say, showing that it looked like actually he was the weaker driver out of the two when he was defending out front himself, but now he's on the attack. He suddenly looks like the stronger one himself.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting race, I think, compared to what we saw last time. As Jump 35 defends to the inside from Tolashi. Tolashi for the 30, trying to get his best result of the season so far, getting this win. Oh, that is not a good exit, though, from Jupp. We go side by side down towards Old Hall Corner. Can Tolashi make it stick on the outside line? It's going to be a tough one for that. He's going to have to back out and come back in. And yes, fourth position is the best from Tolashi so far. So this is going to be some good points for TC Sports, but he wants that win, as Chadwick is looking in behind as well. He's trying to sniff an opportunity to try and get a double move here. Big defense to the inside for Connor Jupp. To the outside is going to be for Tolashi. Chadwick is just sitting, waiting, hoping for an opportunity. But as we come towards Cheloz, they back out into a single file formation as Jupp defends the inside line.
And this is going to be a big job for Jupp to actually defend for the rest of this race in the position that he's currently in, with Tolashi and Chadwick behind. But it may well get easier as the whole group gets involved, because again, Tolashi may be discouraged from going for something too early with Chadwick so close behind, and same for Chadwick with Moreno so close behind. And there you see it, Jupp shaping for defence, but Tolashi absolutely not interested that time.
No, not at all. So the drivers still trying to play it a little bit smart. We are just about halfway through the race by the time we get towards the end of the lap, so they know they've still got time, but we've come into a big train once more. It opened up for a little bit there, but then again, the slipstream and everything, they just all bunch back up and is getting very congested once more. This is remarkable. For the lead though, we're seeing Tolashi try to go to the outside, trying to make a move. A bit of a terrible run there, I guess, for a jump through Druids, but not enough to make the move just yet. Chadwick once again waiting for his opportunity, a 3-wide moment if he wants to send it up the inside. He's half thinking about it. This is where he had the crash last year, where he got his penalty, but Jupp holds on once more. Tolashi needs to be a little bit more aggressive to try and make this move, but the 35 is putting his car in such a good position so far. And just remember, Connor Jupp is down in 16th place in the championship. He's only had 2 top 10s to his name all season, and the other one was just about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, dear me, he's partially defending there from Tolashi, who goes right round the outside at turn 4. Again, can't do it. He's got to be careful of outside at 5 because Chadwick's right there. And he won't do that. Moore and Gilbert, meantime, side by side. Or was that Caruana jamming? And Gilbert's gone. Gilbert goes into a spin out of turn 5, and he's going to go into full 360 and get back on the circuit again in 17th at least. There might be damage there, but was it contact with the championship leader, Matt Caruana, that sent him all the way around?
And that is a very important moment for the championship. Big points potentially being lost, and you never know when you're going to get them back. Caruana already has a good lead in the championship. He's only losing a couple to Henry Moore as it stands, but if he gains quite a bit on Remy Gilbert, that is going to be a big lead halfway through this standing. As Espes has dropped down a couple of places, so the Williams driver really not loving it. Side by side we go. A little bit further back, was that Carolyn Moore potentially for 5th position? That was incredible between those two drivers. Looks like Carol's weaving about a bit in the background as well as he tries to hold on to that position. Tolashi once again on the outside line, can't find a way through. That's going to open up the opportunity for Chadwick as he come onto the front straight.
Tolashi seemed really out of shape there as he came through the final corner, but he's going to be punished. Chadwick goes through and he lets his teammate through there. Danny Moreno goes ahead. This is turning into a good race for Moreno, by the way, as far as the championship is concerned, as he tries to get himself back into contention. 76 points behind at the start of this second race tonight. If he could win it, that'd be huge. So first contact with Caruana, and there's a second bit. So the championship leader might well land himself in a bit of trouble for that.
Yes, the 15 was diving up the inside. Henry Moore was involved in that one as well, but able to come out on top. There might be some repercussions from that, especially the big championship. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up on the in the stewards' room in a few moments' time after this race. So even if he gains points on the road, there might be some points lost in penalties. Very, very interesting. There wasn't quite room up the inside, but that just shows you the desperation. They said in the interview they weren't going to be aggressive, but when the car is in front of you, things change and you want to start pushing. Very interesting, very, very interesting race that we're seeing here at Oulton Park. The first one was a little bit status quo, but falling all over the place a little bit.
Yeah, it feels to me like we should have race 1 on circuits that are really easy to overtake on, and then race 2 on circuits that are really hard. Obviously, we can't do that in one evening, or we don't do that in one evening, but that's the way round I feel like it should be, because seeing these championship leaders having to really scrap their way through for just minor places, I find incredibly fun to watch, actually, but I guess for these championship leaders, it is very, very frustrating. We'll see how much further up the likes of Moore and Caruana can get to here. Moore has absolutely, I think, got to finish in front of Matt Caruana, though, in this race to try and get himself back into contention and salvage something for Team Benix, because that is a big moment, having Remy Gilbert so far down after that spin.
The issue is it's just going to be a couple of points that he gains, and he's got to gain a lot. So that is going to be such a tough one for him. It's about 28 points that he is behind at this moment in time. As we've seen Chadwick and Tolashi, Moreno, I should say, go side by side in towards the island bend. Moreno trying to make a move. He's been sat there. He's been sat there trying to make these places one by one, but now he's got the opportunity to get up into second place. Wasn't quite able to make it happen. Tolashi's now been a back marker for his teammate, as it's going to be Graham Carroll, the fastest lap, who sat in 5th place.
Again, that's a good sign for us, I think, over the next 6.5 minutes as we enter the final 4 laps of this race, as it will be at the line. The fact that Moreno is going to have freedom with Tolashi right behind him. There goes Caruana, right round the outside from Moore. We saw him defending into the Hislop chicane, and he's going to be still on the inside by the time they go to Knickerbrook. Carroll's on the inside of Tolashi as well. Where are Caruana and Moore? They're still as they were. Good defending from Henry Moore that time.
Oh, Caruana needs to be careful. He doesn't need to do this. Just sit in 7th place, take the points. As you go in the background, there's absolute carnage going on. Murdoch gets past Smith in towards Druids, but that is going to slow down Smith, and now Murdoch actually loses that position back with 2 by 2. We've got Herman Genet in behind, side by side, in towards the final corner. Smith on the inside, Murdoch on the outside, and this is not over yet as we come down towards the first corner. Just another 5 minutes to go for the lead. Oh, contact is made. Chadwick pushes Jop off. He takes the lead, and he's going to take Danny Moreno out. Oh no, they continue on just about. Jop has gone, but for the lead, Moreno's trying to go around the outside, but Chadwick is certainly going to have some damage, maybe a penalty coming his way.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's going to stand by the end of the race. I wonder what he's, at the moment, expressionless. He's just going to be focusing on trying to win this race, because Moreno didn't have a very good run at all off of Cascades, and Carroll's right behind him now. Will he go to the inside at turn 5? Oh no, it's Tolashi. Tolashi went to the inside and he couldn't do it. Moore was stuck behind them as they stacked each other up. Here goes Matt Caruana on the outside. He couldn't get that done quite. We'll see that move for the lead again, but it did look first time round as if Chadwick could land himself in some trouble as well.
I really hope that Caruana is going to sit in behind, but I don't think he's going to do so. He's going to try and battle with Henry Moore for a couple of points. Let's see if it's going to work out this time, though. He's going to have to sit in there behind. They were side by side. Back here, Remy Gilbert in P13. He's trying to salvage some points, some decent points from this race as well. And what is this race? Gilbert does get Herman for P number 12. Big move to the inside here from Chadwick. He's got his nose up the inside, but definitely side by side into that corner isn't really going to work. And he almost takes out Moreno, who manages just about to avoid. But I think he had contact there last season, got a penalty, and I think he might be getting it again, which is such a big shame, as this is Gilbert as he's trying to hold on with Herman. What a battle there for Herman. P13 on the outside, but he might lose that momentum up to turn 1.
Now, Gilbert's been trying to do this for about a lap now. I think he started side by side through turn 5 and still hasn't got this done for 12th place as he tries to get whatever he can here from this second race of the day. And Herman's going to get him on the outside. He's still there, is Gilbert, as he looks at his first outside of top 10 finish this season, does Remy Gilbert. His consistency has been driving him towards second place so far, but he's going to lose points here tonight by the looks of things. And he's still side by side. Now finally tucks in behind Herman. I've got to say, I don't think either Chadwick or Jupp actually were at fault for that turn 1 incident. That's just, that's just my opinion anyway. I think they were both unlucky in that one. Obviously Jupp mostly because he's sent to the outside, but there wasn't even really contact, so I don't think Chadwick could be blamed for that one too much either, but let's see.
Yeah, still pushing the limits of being that close up the inside, and yeah, definitely it's a tough one. It's a tough one to call, but that's why the stewards are there. And after the race, I'm sure they're going to have some fun today, especially in this second race. So 3 minutes to go. Chadwick leads on the road. Moreno in behind. He's got Carroll and Tolashi, then Henry Moore and Caruana. So top 6 battle, and we always see him in this championship to end up with about 6 or 7 drivers in a train are batting for the race win. They stay close together so easily. Oh, Carroll, late move, pushes Moreno out the way, and that is a big hip check. Talashi's going to come through. We're also seeing more in Caruana. Moreno's not going to be happy about that one either, so we're certainly seeing the pile of things stack up.
Yeah, and Torlashi is going to come through to avenge his teammate now as well in 3rd position, so it's going to be an exciting battle now. If I was more on Caruana, I would just sit back and hope that they take each other off here, because if you'd have just sat in this front group and just sort of waited for people to fall by the wayside, he would have gained quite a few places by now. You can see that by the way that Henry Moore has pretty much driven this race, and Matt Caruana to a degree as well. Although he did have that move on Remy Gilbert, he's not really made any overtakes other than that, and he's still in the top 5 now. So maybe it's obviously hindsight now, but maybe that is that would have been a good strategy for race 2.
Yeah, I think Caruana shouldn't have made that move a bit earlier on, because he's in the same place that he would have been had he not done that. He is trying to go to the outside though, down towards his slots, trying to make a move around the outside, but not enough. Moore holds on, 1.5 to go, so that is going to be 1 lap at the line. Final lap time coming your way. Chadwick is leading by Carroll. We're slightly starting to separate in this front group as well, so there might be slightly less opportunities to grab 3-4 positions at the end of this race, but it's been hard enough to get one. Chadwick coming up towards the final corner. He's got Carroll chasing him down. We know how aggressive Carroll has been today. We saw the move in this very corner on the last lap as Tolashi tries to regain that position, but not enough this time. 1 minute to go, final lap time.
And I don't get the feeling Graham Carroll's just going to settle for second, to be honest. He's been making some very aggressive moves so far to get up through the field, pushing a couple of people out the way, I've got to say. But Will Chadwick is going to be defending hard, and that may not even be enough here. There it is again! Carroll into the back of another driver. I'm afraid that is not the first time in race 2 we've seen the reigning champion into the back of somebody else. Chadwick, a look of resignation than anything else. I'm afraid if Graham Carroll doesn't have a penalty after this race, I'll be gobsmacked.
I mean, he just drove into the back of him. He obviously just completely misjudged the braking into that corner. We saw how upset Chadwick was there. He's been, okay, fair enough, but, you know, might have been somewhat to fault with some other incidents tonight, but that was not his fault at all. He was just driving, and unfortunately, the #1 machine making contact. But let's see how this finishes on the road, because this is very important for Moore and Caruana for their championship battle in behind. Torlashi and also Moreno for TC Esports in the Constructors' Championship, getting a lot of points in this race as well. Half the lap to go. Graham Carroll leads. Torlashi is in 2nd place. There he is, trying to make a move. Can he do anything in towards the final corner, or is it going to be Graham Carroll holding on for victory on the road? Big send, almost contact for Tolashi, trying to make something work. He's lost his momentum though, and now Henry Moore is actually going to be getting the run down towards the final corner. To the outside, Henry Moore is going to go to try and do something, try and get a further point of actually it's going to be Caruana. Caruana gets the run out towards the line. This is important for the championship. No, it's not going to be. Carroll wins on the road. Tolashi 2nd place, Moore in 3rd, Caruana 4th, and Moreno 5th place. But there's a lot to be said as to how they will stand when any sort of penalties come to multiple of those drivers. And in the background, Murdoch got 6th place for BS Competitions, Iggy Smith in 7th for Aston Martin as well. That is a good result for them, but what a chaotic final race of the evening here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, barely a celebration from Graham Carroll, and there might as well not be, because if that stands, there is no justice in the world. There is contact with a few drivers. I know it is difficult to overtake around here, almost impossible, in fact, to overtake around here cleanly, as we've seen tonight. But that doesn't give you the right to crash into people, and I'm afraid that's what's given Graham Carroll the win here tonight in race number 2. In the end, the winners from that one, you've got to say Matt Caruana again, probably going to end up as top 3, although we managed to be seeing what is going to be done with him after Remy Gilbert's incident as well.
So I've been trying to input some results into the spreadsheet as the night goes on to get a bit of an updated standings. I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to bother for this one, because it's all going to change. Stuart Durham going to be very busy indeed. After 13 laps, Graham Carroll got the win with Tolashi and Moore on the podium. So Ferrari, TC and Bennick rounding out the podium today. Caruana, they're a solid 4th place finish, but some question marks on an interesting overtake on Remy Gilbert. Moreno, solid race, but got punted out of the way by Graham Carroll, up down in 5th place. Murdoch there, that is BS Competition's best performance so far this season in 6th, with Smith in 7th, Sinead for Aztec in 8th place, Baldy, Carroll's teammate there in 9th, and Remy Gilbert down in 10th place after doing a 360 spin with some contact. Herman got BS Competition an 11th place finish with Kirkapur, and then of course we've got Elaine, Muir and Hull inside your top 15, Perez, Strabel from the back in P17, Harding, Hayward and Wimbley your top 20. Then we have Espez, Tegi and Stone, Matthews, Chadwick at the end there. I mean, he hasn't really been classified, but that's because he was in the gravel on the final lap. Then the drivers' laps down, we've got Jupp, Shintani, McAuliffe, Di Pasquale and Leo Brown. He got the fastest lap on P5, but then unfortunately with contact also with Graham Carroll out of the race. Heron and Jasir as well, your top 32 for today's race. Now, this is going to be a very interesting interview to see what these drivers think after today's race. Let's get your winner on the road, Graham Carroll, the number 1. First of all, great to have you back in this championship, representing Scuderia Ferrari HP Esports. Tough race out there today. Unfortunately, a couple of bits of contact. Do you want to talk us through those and from your point of view?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. No, it's great to be back, and honestly, I'm just happy with the quality, right, within the same tent as the front guys, and this is just a big prep round for the World Championship this Saturday in iRacing. So, no, don't get me wrong, I came in here planning to do a few sends. You know, I'm not in a championship fight, so I was going to be a bit more aggressive than I was like the whole of last season. So, I'll put my hands up. Like, there's a couple of moves that were quite late, but people did just shut the door on me at points. The one with Chadwick on the last lap, he's dancing about in the middle of the circuit going left and right, and I went for it, and it was just a massive bit of netcode on my end. Like, I didn't feel it, didn't have a contact on my side, so apologies to him. It's the last thing I want to do is end someone's race like that. But yeah, when someone's not in the championship behind you, I don't think you want to fight them too hard. But that was a great race, and great to come out on top.
Absolutely, and overall your pace was great. I mean, it's not like you've forgotten how to drive, of course, in these cars. You know them very well. What was it like being in, especially in that first race, being in such like a pressure cooker? There wasn't any overtakes at various points, even in this second race tonight, but suddenly it would open up and there'd be an opportunity. Was it one of those where you just had to wait and pounce?
It was, and I tried on Henry lap 1, and we had a little bit of side by side, and it was very close, and then I sort of lost the toe a bit, caught them back up, and then the last lap was very the same. So again, pressure cooker, I've got much pressure, right? I'm here just to prepare for the weekend, really, use it as a test race. And all these top guys in this series are pretty quick, so it's great practice for the weekend for sure.
And will we see you in any more races throughout this season, reserving for your team?
Let's see. Just take it race by race, and we'll see how it goes. There's definitely one on the calendar I'd like to do, the Scottish one. But let's see. Let's take it round by round. They'll sort of have a debrief, see how tonight goes, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, certainly, at least congratulations on your pace today. That was very good and exciting action for us, at least on the broadcast. So yeah, we'll see you soon.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, and then we'll next bring in Agustin Tolashi, and to be honest, your best result of the season. It was a very interesting race. You started obviously very high because of the reverse grid, but you had the pace to hold on. So you must be very proud of your prep and your pace today.
Yeah, thank you all. Good evening to all. It was a crazy race. First race, I was missing a bit the pace, but in the second race, I was quite in the pace that we were practicing. I'm really proud of my work here. I came from 3 DNF in a row, so it's really a good result to start the second half of the season.
Yeah, and you and your teammate Danny, you're looking very strong. TC Esports scoring very good points for the Constructors Championship. You are a little bit behind you're a little bit too far behind Team Bennick maybe for the top spot, but Hymo setups coming into today, they're still within reach. So do you think you can beat them overall? Of course, they've only really got Caruana racing at the front. Chadwick's having a bit of a difficult season. Do you think you can get second place?
100%. Like, I think we are doing the right prep every week. Just we missed a bit of experience around here in this championship, but with the team practicing every day, every time we do practice, like, we have fun, and I don't know, it's just like a normal day for now since 1 month ago or 2. So I think we can fight for the P2. Yeah, we are quite behind from P1, but yeah, we can fight with them for sure. No doubt.
Yeah, perfect. I like the confidence. So halfway through the season now, and we wish you luck for the second half, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right, and then lastly, we'll bring in Henry Moore, who, to be honest, Henry, I wasn't thinking I was going to speak to you again after how the first race went, but you're back here, you're on the podium, absolute carnage out there on the track. Just how was that race from your point of view?
Well, to be fair, I was sat behind watching for most of it, so yeah, I got a good angle on a lot of the carnage unfolding. So yeah, I think it was, obviously Graham's not in the championship fight, so he just wanted to win on the road, I guess. So yeah, he sort of cleared the road for me a bit, and I just kept my nose clean, and yeah, managed to get a P3 somehow.
Yeah, you had a few interesting battles with Matt, though. Thought he was going to sit in behind because, you know, for him, just a couple of points isn't going to make the biggest difference at the moment. But he went for it a couple of times. Obviously, made contact with Remy. How determined were you to keep him behind, or were you willing to, you know, avoid the risk for those couple of points?
To be fair, it's not the end of the world if he comes through. I think after the round, we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say about some of this. Because yeah, I think there might be something there, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, when it happened, Remy sort of, I could see him coming in deep. I don't know how it happened. Obviously, I haven't watched the replay. So yeah, I managed to turn out of it in time. Left quite a lot of room, and I don't know what happened. I don't know how I survived, but yeah, interesting race for sure.
And we move to Silverstone next. We go to the second half of the season. Generally, you know, a strong track for you. What do you think you can do there? You know, if you, with your teammates, qualify up towards the front there, do you think it's a race that you can control, or is it going to be just a lot of what we saw today?
Well, obviously, with it being so wide and so many long straights, there's going to be a lot of racing, a lot of tow. But yeah, as you say, if we manage to get all 4 of us up the front, should make it a bit easier. But you know, with Silverstone, you never really know. There's a lot of tow, especially in cars like this. So yeah, it's just going to be about surviving, I guess. I guess.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for talking to us, and congratulations. That's a double podium tonight, so good job.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, and that concludes the interviews for tonight's race. The 4th round of the season race is 7 and 8 of the British F4 Esports Championship. It has been a very interesting tale of 2 halves. Very status quo in the first race, all action in the second race. I'm sure the stewards will have a busy time tonight. It's been myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and in a week we go to Silverstone GP on the 29th of October. Lewis McGlade will be back for that one, as well as we work our way towards the second half of the season. It's been fantastic fun this evening. It's been Hugo Louise on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast, and until next week, we wish you a very warm goodbye.